What's up, everyone? It's the Interview Queen Alicia 2 here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
Oye, te habla tío Sabio Vega. This is Sabio Vega, and you watching True Heel Hit a mi manera o pa' la calle.
Alright, this is Dan House here, very nice, very evil. You are watching True Heel Heat. Probably should have had MJF do this, but here we are.
Welcome to True Heel Heat, the place where we use insider terms because we think we know what the fuck we're talking about, even though we don't. My name's Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and I'm better than you, and you know it.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for our WWE WrestleMania 40 Night 2 review. What some people are calling the greatest WrestleMania of all time. We are here to break it all down as only we can, and we got an all-star panel to do that. I am joined by my co-host regularly on the True Heel Heat flagship podcast. You also see him over on Elite Heat and our watch-alongs over the weekend for WrestleMania 40. He is the true draw. Josh, how are you doing?
Oh, it's a beautiful day.
Oh, now you're happy. Now you're happy.
Hey, man, I got set last night. It was all worth it. All the beatdowns, all the slaps, it was all worth it.
I hope by the end of this stream, you can finally acknowledge your tribal chief and thank him for his sacrifices.
Spoiler, it's not happening.
And we also got my OG co-host of the True Heel Heat flagship podcast, the resident candle maker himself, Top Guy JJ.
What up, gang? Wow. You know, not too often you have a really good feeling after night 2, but all of a sudden, here we are. Good feeling after night 2. Only took them 4 years to do it, but yeah, we're here.
Better late than sorry, I guess. Finally, we got joining us right now from the N.W.A. podcast. You see him regularly on Post Wrestling. You see his writing work over on WrestleNomics. And he brought all the hot takes yesterday on our night 1 review. He is Professor Kris. How are you doing?
I'm very happy that a story got finished because it did seem like forever. This was a long year, but I'm happy.
We made it. We made it to the end of the story. But we appreciate y'all all for joining us live. We appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show that appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with you. If you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on Twitter, but most of all, watching us on YouTube, sound off in the live chat. We'll highlight as many of your comments as possible. Like we got Safet here with us in the chat. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, and you want to show your support in the best way possible, you can send a super chat donation. All the super chat donation go back to the contributors that you usually see on screen with us here. So we always appreciate the support. And we got in the chat with us today, Eric Isaac, who says, hey, fellas, congrats, Cody. Thank you, Roman. And rest in peace, Dusty and Bray Wyatt. What a Mania ending. We also got Power Driver Finisher in the chat with us, saying back at it again. Yes, I'm finishing off Mania week with one more stream for the road because I've done a lot of content on this channel this week. It's been a long week. We got Frantic Grell who says, what's up in chat? The eclipse is coming. And we got our first super chat donation. Thank you so much, Vala B, for the support. He says, Cody Devontae Rhodes. Here we are. The story finally finished. We made it. Hoping we get to see a Cody sermon from Brother Nate if he's joining. Brother Nate will be with us shortly. He is just updating the laptop real quick before he joins us right now. But keep sounding off in the live chat. Keep sending those super chat donations. But as always, let's start off our pay-per-view review with one word to give your overall thoughts of last night's WrestleMania 40 Night 2. Professor Kris.
Excellent. Excellent.
Top guy JJ.
Spectacle.
Josh.
I'll go with satisfying.
I will say finale. This felt like the season finale of the year for WWE, and it's been a while since WrestleMania. The ending of WrestleMania felt like that. And sound off in the live chat with this question: was last night the greatest WrestleMania ending of all time? I've been seeing a lot of people, throw around the top 3, top 5 Mania, top 3, top 5 Mania main event, but I think that the biggest and best argument is, was that the best ending to a WrestleMania of all time? So sound off if you think it was or not. Vala B says cathartist was his word. We also got Annika joining us in the chat. Great to see you, Annika. And we got joining us as well our 5th member of the panel. He is the #1 supporter of Cody Devontae Rhodes. So the celebration has begun because the Godfather is here. Nate Milton, how are you doing?
What is good, fellas? It's a wonderful day. A wonderful day to be a DEI. Let me just start by saying that. Shout out to Don Staley and them South Carolina Gamecocks. But most importantly, shout out to this man, Cody Devontae Rhodes, who finished the story. See it? I told you a year ago we were going to finish the story. And yes, they added some extra chapters in the book that they might not have needed to add. But damn it, we finished the story, Sid. And it's a wonderful morning, a wonderful afternoon to be here with you fellas talking about night 2 of WrestleMania 40.
Yes. And what is your one word to give your overall thoughts on WrestleMania 40 night 2?
I think, Sid, I could go on and on. I could go on and on about my feelings about last night, but I think there's only one word to encapsulate my feelings about night 2 of WrestleMania. And I think top guy JJ knows where I'm going with this. That word, Sid, whoa. That's the word. Let the church say amen.
That's a sound. That is more of a sound, sir. I will. I'm gonna have to go to the judges on if that counts as a word. But I do like it. I do like it. We also got
there, y'all. We haven't seen this right in how many years where there's just this universal joy of how a show did yesterday. Like this of all the fuckery and everything we're gonna talk about, but the feeling of getting up knowing, you just watched a damn good program. That doesn't happen too often, especially with this place.
Yeah, exactly.
And And most of all, I would say, like, the main talk and the main overall arching kind of argument or the message that they put across this weekend was that it's a Triple H era. And my God, I have lived through WWE so many years of telling us it's a new era when it wasn't really. It was a new era when Shane McMahon returned and him and Stephanie were Raw and SmackDown general managers. It was a new era when they were going to listen to the fans, when Baron Corbin was general manager. But they took the time to give us 18 months of seeing changes to the product before they hit us over the head with this is a new era. So I will give them credit because finally I believe them.
Yeah. You remember how long it took to actually believe that Vince is no longer involved?
Yep.
It took years to actually believe it. And this past 2 months, it finally felt like, yeah, he's actually gone.
Yeah, it was weird because they didn't like really they shit on Vince McMahon without like being blatant about it, but they just like his like the last like 10 years of fuckery, they just kind of like said that they kept using the word wrestling.
It was the final line of a choked up Michael Cole who said, I love professional wrestling. And I was like, wow, that was a nice cherry on top of Vince is gone, niggas. This whole night too. Vince is gone. Stephanie's back. Vince is gone. And we got baby faces winning titles. Vince is gone. It's like there was a whole bunch of messages throughout this one show that Vince is gone.
And part of them probably saying it part of them probably saying it so much is to convince themselves as well. When you have to say it, that it's like, yo, we're gonna bang this shit to people's ears until it penetrates and goes through. Because like you said,
and it's cool because it's like I used to hate listening to WWE heads like go do like the most ridiculous mental gymnastics to defend this fuckery. It got on my nerves to no end. And like what JJ was saying, those cats were trying to convince themselves because they weren't ever convincing anybody with like even a minutia of rational thought. Because that crap was so horrible for so long. And now it feels like things are actually moving in the right direction. I even go as far as to say that this seems like that sounds like a series finale. And this seems like a new like show completely. It seems like they're trying to shake away a lot of what we're used to. Man, it just really felt good watching WWE last night. I must say that, right?
Yeah. We got a super chat donation here from Chuck Berries. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries. We appreciate it. He says, what do you guys think they will do with Damian Priest as the world heavyweight champion?
I already know what's happening, but I guess we'll talk about it.
Yeah, you gotta time these questions a little better, Chuck Berries. We're gonna get into that.
People want to know, bro.
I know. I mean, me myself, I think that he's gonna probably be feuding with Drew McIntyre in some way until Punk comes back. I think they can throw in Priest, McIntyre, and Rollins for France, or they could do Drew and Priest at Clash at the Castle, or they could wait or if Punk is back, they can do that Drew and Punk at Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, I think I think Drew might win at Clash at the Castle. And then I don't think that Damian Priest is gonna be a whack Money in the Bank champion. That's the problem with that Money in the Bank is most of those champions were garbage. It's no fault of their own. It's just they were booked to win. And then Vince McMahon just lost his mind completely. Sometimes they would win and cash in on a U.S. title. And you had dudes like Damian Sandow, where it's just like it was ridiculous, man. And then you had just it was just nonsense after nonsense after nonsense. And I don't think WWE is going to be perfect, but I don't think it's going to be so lame to the point where I have to I'm embarrassed to be watching this when my mom walks in the room, like that kind of stuff. I think the HLA crap is done. I think
they can't touch that at all. Stuff like that. Brother.
They haven't been doing that type of stuff.
The block is too hot for that.
Yeah.
Well, I think they've always dipped their toe in the water to kind of see where the country.
Is it cool if we get a little misogynistic right now?
Fully,
I think we're talking about WWE like we're still in 2019. I think that they were far away from that, even in the Vince era of HLA and stuff like that. But as far as the question, that's what I think they're gonna do on the immediate future. But I think that Damian Priest as World Heavyweight Champion will probably be the catalyst for the breakup of the Judgment Day. It's gonna be who's the leader now. It's gonna be no, not even Finn Balor. It's gonna be
I think he's gonna break them up though. I think it's gonna be who's the leader now of the world champions between Rhea. Rhea's kind of been the de facto leader because she was the WWE Women's World Champion. But now that Priest has the World Heavyweight Championship, he's already, by the Money in the Bank, he was already kind of taking leadership roles. Now it's gonna be more prevalent. I think that Finn Balor's going to cost Priest the title at Clash at the Castle. I do think that's going to happen, and I think that's when they'll break up. I think they'll be together for when is Clash at the Castle again?
2 months.
I think that's when they're going to break.
This is now the second stable you have broken up in 2 shows.
No. But this one is going to is where the story's been going though too. It seems like once he's won the title, a 2-month reign is perfectly fine because he'll get it back, and then he'll be in the mix for real. And that's been the problem with Money in the Bank winners is they win the belt and like Jack Swagger, man, come the fuck on. It's like
come on, get out of that era, bro.
Yeah, dude, you living in like
I'm presenting what was God to me. Look, this is therapeutic for me. I have to let go of this stuff by talking about it.
It's therapeutic to remind yourself of the doldrums.
You gotta let go of the trauma.
I gotta get that.
You got a good feeling that we're experiencing.
A whole bunch of your friends like Kris. Let's stay in the now. Let's stay in this moment.
No. I'm unloading that so I can get to the now.
You gotta make space for the good.
Yeah, you have to get that shit out the way.
You unloaded the doldrums, and that's why we're gonna start off with the ending of last night's show to remind everybody that there's good times. Drop the thumbs up on the video, but we're starting off hot right with the main event. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. First of all, man, that video package. That video package is an all-timer. It's a top 3 WrestleMania video package. Top 3, top 4 with the Brian Monster video, with the My Way video for Austin and Rock, with the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels video for their second matchup, the running up that hill. It's right up there with all of those, just how they broke it down. We got the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega, who did not sign with this company last year, got WrestleMania moments. They were in the video package. Just so superbly done. Chris Jericho was in the picture as well. It was like blank. It was Kenny and in Cody in that picture to me.
All you
But
got to remember is Kenny in the box.
exactly.
Good.
But the entrance, Cody comes out. We see burning flags on the big screen of all the different wars that Cody has been through. And Cody comes up through the Cody Vader, and he is wearing the same mask that Triple H wore at WrestleMania 30 10 years ago, but with a redesign in the American Nightmare shape. And like Triple H 10 years ago, who handed it to his wife, the mask, it is Cody who hands it to Brandy, making her return to WWE television in the proper way. We get Cody, big ovation. The crowd is singing his song. It felt like a triumphant hero babyface coming down to the ring. He seemed so emotional during his entrance, greeting, his family in the front row. -1 was also there. Then Roman Reigns gets the big orchestra of young people singing and performing him to the ring. It felt like the final boss. Michael Cole with naming down all the people that Roman has triumphed over. I was on the watch along. And who else? And who else? Come on, that list is ridiculous. And then the bell ring, the crowd was on their feet. This was like the rapid type of environment and atmosphere you expected for this matchup. Roman got Cody got a little bit of boost during his intro.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
No, none of that when the match started, when the bell rang. They stood face to face with Reigns looking extremely confident. And I would go as far to say this might have been Roman Reigns' best performance of his career. This man was on the money. They had a filling out process early on. Cody goes to get a table from under the ring. He pulls it out, but Roman drops him with a drive-by kick and puts the table back under the ring to get some heat from the crowd. Rhodes chucks Roman into the steel steps. Reigns is the first to use a weapon as he gets a kendo stick, but Cody fights back. He hits a big bulldog and he locks on a figure 4, but Roman rakes the eyes to get free. Roman works over Cody and he says, "I'm gonna miss whooping your ass," as he takes him to the outside. They fight into the crowd. They fight on top of a platform where Cody delivers a big suplex to Roman on top of the platform. Back in the ring, Cody goes for a disaster kick, but Reigns is able to catch him into a power bomb. Reigns then hits a vertical suplex, but Cody's able to kick out at 1. Roman then basically chokes Cody on the bottom rope, and he says that I'm gonna send you back to Hollywood with the rest of them. This is my company, you little bitch. I was like, Roman. Oh my God. I was like, Roman is on the money. Reigns busts out a perfect plex at one point for a 2 count. He hits the repeated clotheslines in the corner, but Cody comes back with some super kicks. They knock each other down center ring with clotheslines. They start trading right hands that Cody gets the better of him. He hits a big power slam and a disaster kick. He goes for the Cody cutter, but Reigns catches him, and Cody then is able to break out of it and hits a Cody cutter of his own. But then Cody goes for another Cody cutter, and Reigns catches him, and he hits the crossroads. I was like, what the hell? And Cody kicks out, and Roman has the best response ever. He said, "That move sucks. It doesn't beat anyone."
Yes.
Rhodes dodges the Superman punch. Cody starts hitting the jabs and the bionic elbow. He hits the big, we get to the outside where Rhodes clears off the table, but Roman, he was able to hit the low blow and powerbomb him through the table. Back in the ring, he hits a Superman punch for a near fall. Cody blocks a spear. He hits a Cody cutter. Reigns goes for a rock bottom, but Cody is able to block it and hits a spear of his own for a 2 count. It was at the 21-minute mark that Cody hits a crossroads. He picks him up for the second crossroads, and Jimmy Uso comes out and delivers a super kick. Reigns hits a Superman punch for another near fall. At that point, Jey Uso comes out. Big pop for Jey. He attacks Jimmy. They fight on the stage where Jey delivers a big spear to Jimmy off the stage through 2 tables. A lot better than their entire match. Rhodes used the distraction to to apply a schoolboy for a 2 count, but then Roman gets right back up, hits a big spear for a near fall. On the outside, they fight, but Cody gets the upper hand, and he hits a big spear through the barricade. Back in the ring, Cody hits 2 crossroads. He looks around like, is anyone coming? Yes, they are. Solo Sikoa is here. He catches Cody with the Samoan spike, at which point, Solo's basically barking orders to Roman, telling him to get his ass up, finish his story. They deliver the Samoan spike spear combo. Cody kicks out again. Solo's about to finish him again when John Cena comes out. Cena takes out Solo to the outside of the ring. He hits a 8A on Reigns inside the ring. Then he goes to the outside, delivers an 8A to Solo through the Spanish announce table. The crowd is going nuts at this point when The Rock appears. The Rock is cursing up a storm. He's like, who the fuck told you could be out here? What the fuck are you doing here? Cena gets in the ring. We get the slow motion stare down thrice in a lifetime between Cena and Rock. Cena looks like an absolute dork next to The Rock when he throws a punch and he gets dropped with the Rock bottom, and Rock says to get the fuck out of his ring. We get holy shit chants from the crowd. Rock pulls out his belt and he's about to whip Cody when the Shield music hit. We get an audible pop and a long sense of silence, like, is Dean Ambrose about to come out? When Seth Rollins pulls his beaten down carcass from earlier in the night, he comes down in Shield gear and gets blasted with a Superman punch despite having a record. Yes, Seth Rollins, you're the biggest dork of the weekend. But then a gong goes off, the lights go out, and the Undertaker appears when they come back on. The Rock is stunned. He gets a choke slam from the Undertaker. The lights go out again, and everyone disappears. Except for Roman, Cody, and Seth. And Roman gets up first. He has a choice. There's a steel chair that Seth brought into the ring. He has Cody down. He has Seth down. He picks up the steel chair. He looks at Cody. He could get the job done, hit him with the steel chair, retain his title. But no, the PTSD from Seth Rollins from a decade ago. Revenge kicks in. Despite beating his ass with a steel chair and getting your revenge at the Royal Rumble 2022, the defining decision of Roman Reigns' iconic, legendary reign is the defining act of his entire character, the first betrayal of his career, and he has to get revenge on Seth. Hits him in the back. He turns around to Cody, goes for the spear, kick to the face, 1 crossroad, 2 crossroads, 3 crossroads. Finish the story. Cody Rhodes becomes the new undisputed WWE champion. No Universal. That's how he was announced. That's how he was announced as the new WWE champion during the press conference. Cody Rhodes, we get the big babyface celebration. All the baby faces coming down to the ring. All the people that were spurned by the bloodline. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, LA Knight, Randy Orton. We get a moment with CM Punk coming out, hugging Cody, raising his hand. Cody being raised on the babyface's shoulders. We get an emotional moment with Brandy where he kisses her when he first gets the title. He looks up, thanking his dad for the moment. He gets the moment where he's able to hand the title to Mama Rhodes. He gets to say a little bit after the fact where he says that he wants 2 people responsible for this moment more than anybody. He tells Bruce Pritchard, which you could have heard of in that 65,000. But he also calls out Paul Levesque. He says Paul Levesque doesn't want to come out here, but he wants him to come out here and share this moment. He hugs Bruce Pritchard. He shakes hands and hugs Paul Levesque. Paul Levesque is bright red because he's holding back tears. Cody Rhodes finishes his story in one of the greatest WrestleMania main events and greatest endings to a WWE show of all time. Wow. I would not be a wrestling fan if I did not give that 5 stars. That's 5 stars. That was it. That was perfect. That was everything I wanted. Everything I thought would happen happened. And then at the end, the big babyface won, and they legitimately gave him the Dusty Rhodes babyface celebration. All the that's the Dusty Rhodes trope, y'all. All the baby faces come down. You celebrate the big win in the center of the ring. You got the family, you got the friends there. That is a Dusty Rhodes trope, 100%. That we don't regularly see. We've only seen it really like once in WrestleMania history, and you have to go back all the way to WrestleMania 10, where you had the babyface roster come down and celebrate with Bret the Hitman Hart. This is like a moment that will be like in time. It felt like it felt more meta than anything, more meta than just like the storyline and the story that they were telling. It felt like WWE was moving on from not just Roman Reigns, but Roman Reigns was a specter and the symbol of the Vince McMahon era. So ending this reign opens the door for a new era. It really felt and echoed like WrestleMania 14 vibes of the Austin era has begun. The Cody era has begun. This was absolutely perfect, in my opinion, the best WrestleMania ending of all time. And that's coming from a Bryan Danielson fan who did not think 30 could ever be top. It was top tier because it felt real. And that's very rare. Something feels that real, not just for the guy who won it, for the entire company. It felt like they were moving on from 20 years of bullying, 20 years of bad storylines, 20 years of drop storylines, 20 years of nasty, very nasty stuff that Vince McMahon is involved with. It felt like a company that was moving on. I cannot praise this enough. We'll start with Nate. What did you think? Cody versus Roman 2.
Yeah, first of all, man, off the top, 5 stars. Like, not even a question in my mind. We talked yesterday, Sid, that this ain't a match, man. This is a movie. This ain't a fight. This is a film. You know what I'm saying? This ain't a conflict. This was cinema, fellas. Yesterday, Saturday night, was Infinity War. This was the damn end game. We even had the on your left moment. Instead of Sam Wilson flying into the screen, we got your boy Main Event Jey Uso making up for the night before, coming down to help out Cody Rhodes. We had a litany of all your favorite stars from years past coming down to help Cody Rhodes. We even had Undertaker. It's fuck Undertaker in this household, Sid. You know what you did, Taker. I'm glad LeBron left you standing outside that locker room.
I'm okay with it because all the interferences after Jimmy and Jay, it stopped being the bloodline coming together endgame. It really was a celebration of 40 years of WrestleMania.
Yes.
And if you can't get Austin, the only other guy that is synonymous with WrestleMania is The Undertaker.
It's the next best thing. Yes.
And this coming from someone who hates The Undertaker before I knew he was MAGA Taker.
Yes. But in terms of the match itself, I think you got to give credit to not only Devontae, but Roman. Like the chemistry those guys have and have had over the past 2 years.
I'll be honest. I've seen better Cody Rhodes matches. I've never seen a better Roman Reigns match. I've never seen him better in the ring. That was like Roman on 100.
And you mentioned yesterday, like the shape he was in. Like he knew what this weekend was supposed to mean, Sid. As you said, like one of the greatest endings in the history of WrestleMania. I'd say it's up there. I'm not sure where I'd rank it yet. I need a little bit more time to process it. But it's up there with Daniel Bryan. It's up there with Kofi Mania. It's up there with Bret Hart, in my opinion, in terms of like, damn, like that show left you feeling good and positive.
Kofi didn't end the show.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It was the end of the show to me. Like,
we
root for everybody black out here, Sid.
Yeah. I was done after that.
I don't know what the hell happened after.
At a watch party after that match.
But then I think, man, they did a great job, Sid, again, because we can have this argument all day. You and I have had this, I ain't even going to say argument. We've had a dialogue, Sid, for the past 365 days about did they do the right thing at WrestleMania 39.
They did. In my opinion, they did.
So here's the thing. I still say they did not, but they found a hell of a way to get back to this point and make everything make sense. and gave us a
Mm.
moment that was just as satisfying as if he would have won in LA. And so for that, you got to give creative props. But I think you also, man, it all comes back to this dude right here. This dude, Cody Rhodes, because to be put in a position as a babyface in 2023, 2024,
Yeah.
to stay that connected with your audience for 2 years, that's damn near impossible, man. We've seen how the fans switch up on folks like that, man. We saw Cody get switched up on in AEW. And so for him to maintain that relationship with the fans for 2 years, it's amazing. I think the inclusion of The Rock added some extra juice to this program down the home stretch. And yeah, man, it was Samantha Irvin gets all the flowers for that damn call of Cody at the end. But yeah, it was like I had grown-ass man on my timeline said, in tears, hit me up about Devontae last night. I didn't have no tears coming down. They was in my eyes. I was all crying out from Dawn Staley and them girls beating up on Iowa 3 hours prior. But, man, it was an emotional night as a fan of Cody, not only as a performer, guys, but for what he has meant to this business over the past 2-3 years. Like the change that Cody helped usher into this business over the past 2 or 3 years. This was a satisfying conclusion to the story. And the best thing about it, Sid, like you said, this was like the season finale of 20 years of, okay, good to bad to great programming. Now we on to the new. And Cody is at the forefront of that. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see what they do tonight. And I'm excited to see what they do with this title reign going forward, fellas.
Professor Kris, what did you think about the main event?
Yeah, I loved it. I saw some people on the Twitterverse, and they were talking, you know, because the ending was a little nuts. I think it was necessary. All the fuckery that I normally complain about from WWE, I think it was necessary in this match. It's like when you have an ex-girlfriend that you broke up with, and her stuff and her pictures are still there. And it's not just enough to rip the pictures up. You gotta burn them. You gotta flush things down the toilet. You gotta make sure it's done. And that's what last night felt to me. It felt like they said pro wrestling, not just wrestling. They said professional wrestling, pro wrestling multiple times last night, which made me feel good because I do not like when you try to call something that is something that it's not, you know. And I don't mind the term sports entertainment as like a co-term, you know, but not as a replacement term, you know what I'm saying? And I'm with Nate on I still think it should have happened in LA, but I think the way they did it, got it back to what it was supposed to be was great.
This was bigger than LA.
Well, I mean, this is the thing.
It's always the thing that my thing with WWE is if they can make it bigger than it was and it means more than it was, then they did the right thing. That's why.
That's the thing. But the other side of
it wouldn't, like, as much as y'all wanted to happen last year, it wouldn't have been that much. It wouldn't have.
But you don't know if this is what they would have gotten to, right? Like a lot of things had to fall into place.
Yeah,
of course. I can only go off what happened. Like,
right.
That's the thing. But you can always there's always going to be a what if. That's what makes these debates interesting, right? Because I think a Cody Rhodes babyface run initially would have been big because I think this run is going to be big too, you know. But I don't want to gloss over that fuckery right now. What happened, and I'm gonna appreciate what happened, and I'm glad that it happened because for a while there, it didn't think like it was ever gonna happen. Vince McMahon is gone, which is great, and I thought that there was a lot of symbolism in that last match. I'm surprised they didn't give like Booker T a second out there because he had a feud with Cody Rhodes that most people forgot about. But he was the first person to give, as far as main eventer, to give Cody Rhodes a stamp of approval. But it was
he
just,
wasn't exactly a main eventer back then. He was
Well,
he was
I
Black
mean,
Jerry
he-
King Lawler at that point.
yeah, come on, man. He was a
He
little
was.
bit.
He was.
He's a little
He
bit. He's a little bit more than Lawler, but
He could work better at that point, but he was like the way the company viewed him. He was a commentator. He was a commentator, a non-wrestler who was coming back to put someone over. It wasn't a main eventer putting him over.
we're sidetracking. But anyway,
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Me and Top Guy JJ, no, we ain't giving no Booker T credit for nothing. And that's what I told you.
Why is his name even said this much during this conversation?
I don't know.
Because we're talking about great black champions. Kofi, Devontae, Booker.
All right, but anyway,
Hey, yo.
thumbs up for me, man. Thumbs that main event, and I this is not recency bias. And if it is recency bias, it's from the recent bullshit we've been getting for 10, 15, 20 years. This is the greatest ending to a WWE pay-per-view of all time. I'm thinking to me, it's not even close to anything else. You know, I'm talking about Hogan, Mr. T, Bret Hart at WrestleMania 10. There's nothing that's better than this. LT, you know, there's nothing better than this one, man. And it's gonna be the best for a while. I don't think anything is replacing this. Cody Rhodes single-handedly reshaped the wrestling industry to something that we all can be proud of and enjoy. There's an AEW because of Cody Rhodes. There's a WWE renaissance that Cody Rhodes has a big part in. So I'm a happy man.
Josh, I know you've been on this journey with Cody Rhodes since pretty much I met you and before that. So how did last night feel for you? And what did you think about the match overall?
It was a long time coming because anybody that knows me knows I've been a Cody fan since the bad days with Cody Rhodes. Like that's how long I'm a fan that I've been.
Dashing Cody Rhodes.
Dashing, Stardust, all that stuff. Like that's how long I've been a Cody fan. And it's ironic because that's actually how I got like associated with SP3 was because of Cody Rhodes. Like a lot of people don't know the story that SP3 had a incident with Cody Rhodes. I didn't know about it. So I think when I made a comment about Cody Rhodes, he was like, fuck Cody Rhodes. And I'm like, damn, what did Cody Rhodes ever do to you? And we spent like
he's all savior of racism, but he flipped off the black guy in the front row at a Ring of Honor event. And I was a big fan. I was shooting in the gym. I told everybody he was better than Ted Jr. in the legacy days, but he wanted to flip me off.
What did you do, Sid? What did you do, brother?
I did this. That's all I did.
didn't do
He
nothing.
was too sweet everybody, but he didn't want to too sweet the black guy. I'm sorry, Josh. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, but that's exactly what happened. And then me and SP3 went back at it for like an hour. My first interaction with SP3, we went back at it, back and forth for a legit hour because of what happened between him and Cody. So like, I mean, when it comes to everything about Cody himself, I mean, like everything that he's been through was like, there's not a lot of people who could say they did what he did. You know what I mean? Like he was a glorified Mick Carter. He leaves, makes a name for himself in the indie scene. Then he goes to Ring of Honor. He makes the most money he's ever made, even before WWE. You know, and then All In happens, and then AEW happens, and then when it comes time to come back, he came back a lot sooner than I thought. But I think he made the right move. Look, on hindsight, I think he made the right move because of the goals that he wants to accomplish. I know a lot of people try to use the whole aspect of like him wanting to stay in AEW, like he was making it clear how he wants to stay with AEW and all this stuff, but people change their minds all the time and it happens. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, so we can't really hold that against people, I guess you could say. But to see last night, like I honestly thought I would never see it, and then to finally see it, and to not only see it, but to do it at the moment that he did, and to do it against the longest reigning champion that WWE has had in like how God knows how long, what, like 30, 40 years, right?
Yeah.
I think that adds on top of that. But the match itself, match was incredible, to be honest. I love the fact what they did was that they worked for about 20 minutes before the first run-in. I thought that was like a new approach, just because, again, like we've gotten so used to WWE, and usually when we hear stipulations like this, they usually focus heavily on the stipulation, right? So there's no cohesiveness in the match. People focus on that, and I think that if they would have done that last night, like if the first run-in would have happened like in the first 5 minutes, I think it would have taken away from the match. But the fact that they had a straight wrestling match, nothing was going on. They had a straight wrestling match for 20 minutes. I think added on to the match, and then the run-ins. I thought they were fine. The run-ins, I thought like everything was timed perfectly. I did expect Austin, because that was a heavy favorite, like the name that was thrown out there. But I thought it was a cool thing that they had Taker. Like I thought that was like that was the best way to use them. And then it's also funny because I think when the lights turned off, there's footage of a Taker, like a whole bunch of Taker running to the back. That was hilarious. But the moment itself, but the moment itself, it was all worth it. Like,
it was like a reverse Dusty finish too, you know, because you're used to like stuff happening with the babyface getting railroaded, and that was perfect, man. I can't. There's nothing else I can say about it.
And where do you stand now after a sleep on it? Where do you stand? Should he have won last year, or was it worth it because of how this was executed?
To be honest, last year I didn't mind it too much. It wasn't. Would it have been cool to see him win last year? Yeah, but I wasn't 100% against it. The only thing I didn't like was the finish of the match itself when it comes to how they did it. Because that was also a great match. That was a great match. But then the fact that you have the stipulation that you throw somebody out and then he comes back in, and then they do absolutely nothing about it. I think that's what was kind of like, what the fuck? Like, you have all these, these moments in Raw, like where some shit like that happens, and like, oh no, that's not gonna restart the match. For any event that happens, but you don't do that for WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like,
it annoys me when you don't stick to the rules of your own universe.
Yeah, and I think that's what kind of was like that. I thought that was like the downside of that from last year, but I also understand, like, because of the whole situation, Cody was gone for 8 or 9 months, and then he comes back to win the Royal Rumble. So there wasn't really.
There wasn't a story there. Like that's we've seen the guy come back from injury, win the Royal Rumble, and win the title like 50 million times. That's what Triple H did in 2002, and everybody says that shit was trash. So why did y'all want Cody to do the same thing?
This wasn't even the story though. Like let's not get it twisted. Because if the people didn't speak loudly and unified in one voice, we would have been watching Rocky and Roman last night, dog.
And the people wanted it. Why?
So this ain't what they wanted, right? Right. So I'm not giving credit to the company for making this decision, right? Like the company had to be coerced into this, much like with Daniel Bryan, much like with Cody.
Triple H had this planned in October. It was The Rock who tried to come in and try to change plans to make the people force this to happen. Top guy JJ, what did you think about the main event and everything last night?
Just wow, man. From everything, from just and I think it's just taking like a good moment, and I'm gonna rewatch it probably before Raw tonight. It's just to enjoy
it just before this show.
The video, like just enjoying that video package, the build up, everything that it took to get here, the press conference, the return of The Rock. Like the ingredient of Cody Rhodes is what made this all so special, because they can finally be comfortable with removing the title from Roman Reigns to somebody that is more than capable of carrying the torch. And it's a babyface at that. Like, so with all of that happening and everything, just the big fight feel, the big match feel, the massive entrances. My God, Samantha Irvin gave me fucking goosebumps last night. Like, oh my, like everything just felt so magnified. And then the bell rings. And then we get great work for about 20 minutes. It was a damn good match without anybody. And then we add Avengers Endgame to it. It was such a good WrestleMania moment. And we've been a part of WrestleMania. I've seen everyone since 4, live. Not, and you can watch it revisionist, but I never had a better feeling watching a WrestleMania main event than I did last night. Last night was just so much fun. It was so much fun. I don't think we have to talk about the star count because it's obviously it's a 5-star match because just of everything being done so well. The ring chemistry between Cody and Roman ramped up tremendously. The feeling out process didn't need to take that long. And the assertion of new stuff, and then this was the 2020 Roman talking that vigorous shit during the match. There was just so many layers to this that was so fucking good that there's nothing you could take away from this match and said, yo, that shouldn't have happened. That is, there's not many times that you could ever say that shouldn't have happened in this match. And that is why, yes, I was not happy when he lost at 39, but the payoff of 40 makes it way worth it. It makes it way worth it because you wouldn't have got this without that. And having just that feeling and just everything, everything that took place, every single layer, and then having every person that Roman defeated in the ring with him celebrating, having his mom in the ring, having fucking CM Punk come out for a moment with him, having Paul come out, this is honestly, if you're showing somebody wrestling, this is what you need to show them. This is what you need to show them because this is what pro wrestling is all about. It's about a spectacle. It's about good matches. It's about great entertainment. And you got everything that you can imagine here in this match. And that ingredient of Cody, Devontae Rose made it possible. And the reign of Roman Reigns made this possible. So that's why, no matter what happened, Roman Reigns gotta get his flowers because this run isn't as special, and this championship win is not as special if he did not beat that guy. If he didn't beat that man, it would have been great, but this was he climbed the mountain. And yeah, to me, greatest WrestleMania finish of all time.
Roman, I think I can really appreciate the run now that it's over because it's basically the equivalent for WWE of Hiroshi Tanahashi in New Japan. He's the guy that got the business back on a different level. He's the guy that took them from, okay, we're struggling creatively, and it was him as the centerpiece who changed it all. Even during the Vince era, he was the only good thing in the last 2 years of Vince's run that everybody was saying, oh, everything else is crap. But this guy, it's like a whirlwind and his story, his overall story of being handpicked at a young age, being pegged for greatness, and then people turning against him. He is WWE's equivalent of LeBron James. He is he's the guy who's been made the face of the company that people turned against, people rejected, and he made himself undeniable even to those people. Even to somebody like me, after a while, after a few championships, after a few MVPs of LeBron, even though I did not like the decision, I had to accept
LeBron is one of the faces of the NBA. He's one of the greatest of all time. And I think that a lot of people, although you complained about Roman, although you said it was too long, although you were upset with WrestleMania 39, you were upset with Sammy coming up short, you were upset with Drew coming up short, I think it was all worth it because it got to this.
I want to say this. My complaints about Roman were never anything he did. It was always stuff he was associated with. I think Roman is a very fine champion. I think he's a good human being. I like Roman. To me, is a guy that had autonomy after a little while, because in the beginning he was doing all the suffer and succotash nonsense and stuff, and then once he got the there were bridges he would not cross. They were like trying to get him to wrestle in that pandemic era, like at the very beginning of it, and he was like, "Fuck that." That's the kind of wrestler I like. I like, and I think Roman exemplifies like what wrestlers should aspire to be. I think he's a very inspirational character. He's a very aspirational character. I just want to make sure that people know that I've always had affinity for Roman Reigns.
Yeah, like he went from a guy who was very much, okay, I'm the top guy, I'm gonna be the nicest person to everybody. And you heard that back in like 2019 when he came back from the leukemia with the bout with leukemia. Everybody was like, oh, we're so happy Roman was back. When he got the bout with leukemia, everybody was like, Roman's like the locker room leader. We love Roman back here and stuff. And then when he came back after the pandemic, he finally was selfish.
Yeah,
it was about damn time.
Yes,
it was about damn time. When he finally got selfish, he became what he was always meant to be.
Right. Yes. He wasn't gonna be Cena. Like where Cena was just gonna do anything they were just like throwing at him, and Roman Reigns wasn't that. And you gotta give him props for that.
Like it goes back to our review of AEW Revolution said when we talked about Sting's last match. And one of my biggest critiques of Sting for his career, as much as I like, he's on my Mount Rushmore. Like Sting is one of my goats. But it's like, damn, dog, I wish you would have been a little bit more like Terrence from Florida or Triple H or some of these other dudes and been like, nah, I'm not going to do that because that's stupid. And I think Roman, when he came back, to you and Chris's point, he grew not only as a performer, but as a man. And was like, nah, like I'm gonna take care of me and mine, and this is the direction we want to go in. And he was just off to the races.
And I can't compliment it more. But go ahead, Chopper guy.
I was just gonna add just the one ingredient that I think that is kind of not being overlooked, but I just want to mention it loud, is the way that Jim Ross was the perfect ingredient for Stone Cold. Michael Cole is the perfect fucking ingredient for Cody Rhodes. Like no one else could have called that match, and that was like it. That's why everything just felt so perfect. And with Samantha wasn't horsed, I saw that, and she was crying.
Yeah, she was crying.
She was crying.
On that
she was not horsed.
Samantha Irvin earned her, like I saw some people even before WrestleMania weekend who were saying she was the GOAT, and I thought it was a little too early. She's really good. She's in her prime, and she is delivering and cooking on a low level. That was a GOAT level performance last night.
Oh yeah. She put the nail in the coffin on the GOAT conversation over this weekend.
Yeah, she was so emotional. I was asking my wife, is that Brandy doing the announcement? And it was like, that's Samantha Irvin. Because just the way she sounded, it sounded like that was a great call from her, man. And I always thought she was great.
She knew how much it meant to the culture, Chris. She knew how much it meant for her people.
I always think that WWE announcers are great. I think that in the era, they weren't allowed to be great. Like when Vince McMahon got mad at the one fall thing when the fans were doing like that kind of shit is what makes announcers good announcers not feel like good announcers. And I think Samantha Irvin she's works in an era where she's going to be allowed to do her best work.
Yeah. So yeah, bravo to Michael Cole was great on the call with the finish the story, and then it's his whole monologue talking about doing internet shows and meeting Cody when he was young and seeing the charisma when he was in the Hall of Fame.
You're supposed to be impartial, but he was just so biased.
Yeah, I love it.
And it worked. It worked.
That was so good.
One of my favorite tropes is the commentator who is a big fan of somebody.
Yes.
During Kenny Omega matches in New Japan were my favorite. Bobby the Brain Heenan's call on Royal Rumble 1992 because he's a big Ric Flair fan. Like that
Byron Saxton during Kobe Mania.
Or the commentator that hates the wrestler because Nigel McGuinness doing Bryan Danielson matches. It's always fantastic. Like one way if the announcer either loves or hates the guy, it's always great. Because the other thing that gets mentioned about Jim Ross is not just Jim Ross commentating Austin matches, it's Jim Ross commentating Triple H matches because he hated Triple H.
Yeah. That's the thing with a good announcer. We can even take this out of wrestling sports. Like, that's what makes stuff like I still, because it hurt me to my heart when I was a kid. But when Michael Jackson pulled a spectacular move, not Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Merv Albert with that call, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan where he passes the shit to himself over AC Green and all these other Laker dorks. Oh my God, man. Like, that's this kind of stuff that makes sports, like, if you even go to boxing, when I watch a lot of old stuff. So like when, Muhammad Ali wins his first championship and the call on that, that's I don't understand why you would ever tell an announcer, a commentator, not to bring emotion to a sport that is filled with emotion, because everybody remembers that Merv Albert, a spectacular move by Michael Jordan call. Everyone remembers it. This just great all around, man.
Big Man Dogs, that is a bold-faced lie. He said it's really a shame that Vince threw away 4 years of Roman WrestleMania main events. Go back and watch that Roman, Daniel Bryan, and Edge matchup, because Daniel Bryan, on not even feeling like he was there, put on a great performance, and that is the second best Roman Reigns WrestleMania match.
Not the first bad take he's had today.
Real quick, Sid, one last thing about this Cody match, because I mentioned them yesterday when we talked about night one, but I want to also send another shout out to Victor Taylor Perry and the Wrestling Club, because if you remember last year, seeing those kids, primarily those little black kids, man, the way they felt after Mania 39, and then Cody, looking out for the culture, bringing them to WrestleMania and seeing them after that match ended, and the emotion on those kids' faces, man, that's how you grow a sport. That's how you grow a product, by engaging the next generation. And it just goes to show you, like, how much, again, this Cody win, like, yes, it was a great moment, guys, but it's going to have ripples, man. It's going to resonate even beyond last night.
And no, Big Man Dog, you're still wrong. He said I'm talking about his first match. His first WrestleMania main event is the Brock match.
That's great.
That's the best Brock.
That shit was great. What are we talking
about? He threw away the next 3 years. Yes. But that's first. You said first. His first WrestleMania main event is fantastic. But this is why we need to put more respect. This is why we're asking Josh to put some respect, because you see that in the chat, these people don't have respect for the tribal chief.
Yeah, I think that's level of
you gotta set the good example, Josh, for other Cody fans. What are you doing?
Yeah. Like I understand the vitriol that Roman gets, but this level of hate is kind of. We're getting insane with this.
It's just due for the man to get his flowers, because he was the mountain Cody had to climb. Like, it would not have felt as special if he did this against Drew McIntyre. It would not have felt like this if he did this against Bobby Lashley.
Yeah,
Like,
and this was a whole
the
argument.
guy.
This is a whole argument that I had before Cody won the Royal Rumble last year. Is that
Mm.
I was under the understanding that Cody finishing the story and winning the title was about Cody finishing the story and winning the title. It had nothing to do with Roman's reign. But this is why I'm still staying on this topic. That's why he needed to lose last year, because then it became a part of the story that Cody needed to beat Roman to finish the story. That's why it was worth it.
And you know how hard it is to maintain a relevance to a championship for a year, knowing that it's got to get to that person?
Mhm.
Like, that shit ain't easy. Like, we get
No, it's
sick of
not.
people's title runs. We were sick of Seth Rollins' title run like 3 months in, and he was defending the shit weekly.
Yes.
Like,
Because
and
he
then we
devalued it by defending it.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, he had to hold that shit and keep it relevant for a year extra. Like, that shit ain't easy, bro.
And he got good 4 months out of it. Hey, bravo, Roman. You got a good 4 months. I'll give you 4 months. I'll give you 4 months of that year. You made it very interesting. Now we gotta go back to a couple of super chats that we got here. Keep sending those super chats. We definitely appreciate the support. We got Will Chisholm with a super Chisholm who says, before Triple H got taken, I bet he pitched HBK super kicking The Rock, and The Rock was like, fuck that, and get Taker. I agree.
Yeah, probably.
He was like, I ain't taking no goddamn super kick.
Shawn Michaels. It just wouldn't have fit.
Nah.
We also got the flamboyant entrance and all of that shit.
Yeah. He would have had to do the zip line down and shit.
Right.
Chuck Berry says, can Cody's babyface run compared to someone like a Stone Cold Steve Austin? That's the thing that people tend to forget about Stone Cold. None of his title runs were that long. Until he was a heel. Until he was a heel in 2001, that's the longest WWF title run that he ever had. It was all about the chase most of the time with baby faces. WWE has always been different. WWE has always been different from the regular wrestling, where they've always been a babyface company, because you had Bruno had the long run of 7 years. You had Bob Backlund had a long run of a couple of years. Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan had the 4-year run from 1984 to 1988. And this seems like the John Cena era was WWE getting back to the long babyface run. John Cena back in 2006, 2007 had a 380-day rate.
But then also in the Attitude Era, it was more about how many times you won the championship. So that's why the reigns weren't that long. Like, if you even if you look at the Rock's title reigns within the Attitude Era, they were not long reigns at all.
His longest run was when he was a babyface. It was 2000, and he held it for 4 months. That's the longest run he ever had with the title.
Right. Yeah, I think like the eras are different, and even with Cody Rhodes, I think right now we have to enjoy it. I say this all the time. I think Cody Rhodes is the kind of babyface that there will be a time where fans are gonna reject him. It's not right now, I think, even when I think Cody Rhodes is such a smart guy, man. Because let's just say if his contract runs out in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, he can go back to AEW and tell the exact same story, like about this is the real world championship that I wanted to win. That he's got layers and pivots he can make.
Man, spoiler alert: Cody is retired with the WWE. He ain't going nowhere. He ain't.
I don't know.
I would never say that. I
ain't going nowhere.
You cannot say that ever in wrestling, that someone's because it always changes.
He has the one thing that he was yearning for his entire career from that place is respect, and he has it, and then some. He has the moniker of the company on his back now. Like, what else is gonna satisfy him? What else would satisfy him?
It depends on what he wants, because I would never doubt the moves that Cody Devontae Rhodes makes. Like Sid, there's a reason we've been talking about this man for the last 3-4 years, brother, because he changed the game. And when you change the game, you make your own rules. So yes, I do see a situation, JJ, where he retires in that company. But it also would not shock me if he was like, you know what? It's been cool the last 4 or 5 years. Let me go back here to what I started and see how they doing. Like, it would not shock me, because Cody's different, man. Cody's different.
I can definitely see a situation at the end of this contract, whether it be 3-5 years, if AEW is in a place where they need a Cody Rhodes to come. I could see Cody being like, you know what? I've done everything here. Let me go over and save my baby.
So let me save my son.
They gonna
I don't think anything's off
his ass.
I don't think anything's off the table in wrestling when it comes to this shit. It's just the industry is made for unpredictability. It's unpredictability. The industry is custom made for these kind of surprises. It's been like this all my life, you know. I never thought I'd see Ric Flair in WWF when that happened when I was a kid, because he was such a N.W.A. WCW guy. I never thought I'd see Cody Rhodes or CM Punk back in WWF. There's just so many things that happen. Bret Hart going back to WWF. The wrestling industry is made off of making money, forgiving and forgetting, and just shocking people.
But let's go back to the beginning of the show now, because we had the intro video. You had Meek Mills once again. This time, Dreams and Nightmares were our background track. This time, it seems a bit warmer and sunnier on this edition of WrestleMania 40. We then get the War in Treaty perform "God Bless America" to kick off the show. And then we get a shock, because we would think Triple H would be kicking off the show once again, but instead we heard the Kingdom when the queens come down, when the men come down, when the men come down, love me.
Look at this girl there.
It's Stephanie McMahon. She is back in WWE, and Stephanie comes out to a remix version of her song. She gets on the mic. She says she was at WrestleMania 1 and when she was only 8 years old, and it felt privileged to be at every WrestleMania since. She said this one was special because it was the first one in the Paul Levesque era. I am sorry. I am not calling it that. It's the Renaissance era. She asked the crowd if they were ready, and they cheered. This was a nice surprise. And like I said, it was the first indication of the night. Vince is really, really gone. That's what I got as soon as I saw Stephanie. What did y'all think?
Yeah, that's kind of what this. I was gonna say, Chris, I think that's kind of what this whole weekend in some parts was about. Like forging a new legacy. We talked about it yesterday, Sid. Like Triple H doing the Welcome to WrestleMania. So now we can plaster that on video packages going forward instead of hearing the other guy. And so this was continuing in that. It was cool to see Steph back. Like, I'm still a little bit conflicted. I'm like J. Cole on these streets, Sid. I'm conflicted, brother. Because Chris and I, we talked about Steph's name coming up in the Janelle Grant case. And so it's like, I hope this is a new start for the company. It was a good moment.
My thing with that is I've always been of this mindset. Whoever is willing to snitch on Vince McMahon, I think I can forgive. Vince McMahon is the top fucking dog. So Stephanie being named in that thing and all those. If you are willing to throw Vince under the bus, I forgive you, because that's the motherfucker that needs to go. He's the one. Yeah, all of them, man. Shit, like if you're willing to snitch on that dude to save yourself, that's smart. Because a lot of wrestling people aren't willing to do that for years. Save that dude, don't save that dude, save yourself. Vince McMahon's a fucking bum. Stephanie McMahon doesn't have to be like her bum ass daddy. I forgive you, Steph.
It was great. It was great to see Stephanie. First of all, I think it was good to see her. But then that stamp, the stamp of the new era, was like, yo, she overstepped her dad.
Yeah.
That's a big fucking step.
Yes.
And she took that shit and said it with fucking vitriol in her voice, with passion, and she stood on that shit. So you got 2 monikers of Welcome to WrestleMania now, and they can remove his ass from every package and every welcome, because they got multiple ways of doing it now. And she did the "Are you ready" thing. So she stamped and stomped all on this new era and just said, "This is it."
Josh, any comments on Stephanie's return?
I mean, it was cool seeing her. It's just that when I saw her, the first thing I'm not gonna tell you, the first thing that did come to my mind was the lawsuit, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
I think a lot of
like,
people are like that too.
Yeah, it's fair. It's
yeah,
fair.
you know, and I think to Kris's point, I think if it's a situation where she publicly speaks out against her dad, I think it'll be good for her, just because like I think behind the scenes, like we hear things, right? Like we hear like how she took a leave of absence, then she came back when Vince fake retired, and then she stepped down when she came back, right? That's all good and all, but I think there needs to be some transparency when it comes to how she feels about her dad and what he's done. She doesn't have to go to detail, but I think if she publicly, basically is against her dad of what he's done of all his years in the company, I think I'll be fine with that more so. So I mean, it was cool to see her. It was cool to see her, like, but
I wouldn't want to see a situation of her like defending him a week or two later. I'm with Josh on that.
We also got Big Man Dogs who says Shane is still clean, right? He's just cringe, but that's fine.
She's probably gonna just stay out of the public eye enough to not need to talk about it,
right?
Yeah. But then to promote and enhance her husband.
Yeah,
right.
If she shows up for like Mania week, maybe SummerSlam week, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah,
like she doesn't need to be in no angles or anything that's keeping her on TV. But show up, promote her husband, promote what he's going. That's cool. Yeah.
I don't think it was ever easy for Stephanie McMahon in that company, because just like even when they did give her the ball and said and she accepted her birthright, Vince McMahon did put Bruce Pritchard there kind of to like shadow her and usurp her in certain areas, and I think she always had to prove her worth in this man's world.
Yeah, he never gave her the full moniker of trust.
No, he really didn't, and I think that now she can do that. I agree with JJ. I don't know if she'll ever come out and publicly admonish her pops, but if she's gonna be like working with that company again, I don't see how you avoid it, because that's the elephant, and she doesn't have to do it.
You just do what your bum ass husband did. Anyway, we're wasting too much time on this.
She's not going to do a press conference on it at all, or
I'm sorry, this company hasn't as much as they're saying it's Paula Vega, they haven't exactly like bemoaned or diminished Vince McMahon. Let's not get the two things conflicted. CM Punk is on commentary for the opening matchup here of Drew McIntyre. He comes down with a full Scottish pipe band, and he has Highlanders with swords bringing him down to the ring. Punk was unimpressed, but he was even less impressed with Seth Rollins' entrance, as Seth Rollins came down with the Philadelphia Mummers String Band Association. Punk called him a goof and said that he looks like a clown. What do you want me to say about this? The very colorful band marched down to the ring with Rollins as the crowd sang his song. Rollins did look like a goof, but it was a cool visual, but it was very much not what a character that we last saw lose the main event of WrestleMania. So if you strictly just watch WrestleMania 40 and you finish night 1 and then you watch night 2, you're like, why is he like have a fucking clown parade?
Yeah,
He was so dejected less than 24 hours ago.
Right.
Yeah, that's always been the disconnect with me and Seth Rollins. Is like stuff like that. You just lost, you got your ass beat, you got the kinesiology tape on you, and you're out there dressed in the most goofy shit I've ever seen. And anytime I say that about Seth Rollins, it's never the most goofy shit, because the next thing is going to be the most goofy shit. And the next thing is, I don't know where this dude gets his sense of style from. Maybe that's just him. But yeah,
I just don't like when something is like, so like I called out Jey Uso throughout the build of him and Jimmy. And Jimmy would betray him, and then the next week he'd be like, I'm having a good time. It's like, no, that's not how you respond. And Seth, I understand you want to do the big entrance for WrestleMania, but it does not work with what happened the night before.
Yeah.
My response to that was CM Punk's reaction to it.
Yes, we did. We did react. That's like CM Punk.
Yeah, I don't know what to make it as goofball.
And honestly, I won't front. When the match starts, ring the bell, and McIntyre immediately hits it with the Claymore, I wanted the match to be fucking over. I was like, that's the end. For that stupid shit, for that stupid ass entrance, I want the match to be over. But he kicks out, and then we basically get a Brock Lesnar matchup. McIntyre gives the chop block. He then launches him with suplexes on the floor. This dude goes up to his wife, grabs his wife's cell phone, tweets, "I'm bored at work," continues on his day. But the real story of this matchup was the fact that Drew McIntyre, heading into WrestleMania, said that Seth was too distracted on the bloodline and not more concerned with the World Heavyweight Championship matchup. But then, throughout this entire 10-minute and 33-second matchup, McIntyre looked at Punk a total of 5 times. He taunted him throughout the matchup. He set up Seth with the Future Shock DDT and then stared at CM Punk. He went for another Future Shock DDT, but Rollins was able to reverse into a pedigree. He then hit a curb stomp for a near fall. They traded blows until McIntyre hit a big neck breaker. McIntyre went for a Claymore, but Rollins caught him, hit a big powerbomb and another pedigree, and then he hit another stomp for another near fall. Rollins went for another stomp off the top rope, but McIntyre was able to get out of it. He then hits the Future Shock DDT and looks at CM Punk, does the go to sleep taunt, and Punk says that he was putting the crowd to sleep right after the crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." So you didn't make yourself look that smart.
Big disconnect.
Punk. McIntyre went for a go to sleep, but Rollins is able to roll out of it for a 2 count, but McIntyre gets up and hits another Claymore, but he gets a near fall once again. McIntyre clears off the announce table. Rollins fights him off. Rollins clears off the other announce table and hits a running stomp right on the announce table, bouncing McIntyre's head off. But Rollins is selling his knee. He sold his knee very well throughout the matchup. Rollins tries to follow up in the ring, but McIntyre catches him with another Claymore. But Rollins kicks out again. Then McIntyre loads up. He hits a 4th Claymore. 1, 2, 3. I thought this was a really good opener to the show. Very fast paced right from the start. It was nothing but finishers and suplexes and big spots, high impact moves. This was a Brock Lesnar special match, but a very fast paced Brock Lesnar special matchup. McIntyre acted quite emotional at winning the championship, looking at the belt, kissing it, but his reaction was somewhat subdued as well. More on that in a bit. McIntyre and Rollins gave each other a knowing look. Rollins was crying and he mouths to McIntyre, "You fucking deserve it." McIntyre then goes to the front row and hands his wife the world title. She then holds the title and he kisses her. Then he starts taunting CM Punk. He gets on top of the announce table and he's being a huge dick to him. It was quite uncomfortable, honestly. I'm like, do these guys really like each other? I don't know. Then he gives a crotch chop to CM Punk, and CM Punk responds by standing up and sweeping the leg of McIntyre. He drops back first on the announce table. Punk then rips off his arm brace and hits McIntyre with it. And then the music of Damian Priest hits, and the whole roof blows off this building.
Yes.
The crowd explodes. McIntyre, Priest comes down with the briefcase. He blasts McIntyre in the head with it. He then puts McIntyre in the ring. He tells the referee, I'm cashing in this thing right now. He gets in the ring, delivers the South of Heaven. 1, 2, 3. Drew McIntyre was World Heavyweight Champion for 5 minutes and 25 seconds, and the new World Heavyweight Champion is Boricua, and he is a part of the Judgment Day. Damian Priest, your new World Heavyweight Champion. We get a shot of CM Punk cross-legged on the announce table, laughing and clapping it up. We get McIntyre, who once again, to his character's fault, is not focused on Damian Priest on the stage celebrating the win. He's once again focused on CM Punk.
Yo, the gaze at Punk, bro.
and then we get the special moment where one of the top heel factions get a complete babyface response, seeing the Judgment Day celebrating on stage. Finn Balor, JD McDonough, Dominic Mysterio, and the two world champions of Monday Night Raw, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. The booking for this cash-in was superb. The best Money in the Bank cash-in Triple H has booked so far, because everything fit to a T. Drew McIntyre told the story during the matchup, and then he just made sure everybody knew. He went into this matchup telling Seth, you're distracted with the bloodline. You're not too focused on it. All the while, he was letting everybody know he was not focused on that match either. He was focused on CM Punk. And then after the match, his obsession with rubbing it in Punk's face got back to him. CM Punk's character fits to a T, because all Drew McIntyre did was say some words and Punk got violent. That's how he is. That's his character. That fits to a T. And Damian Priest cashing in at that time, becoming a world champion, becoming a main event star. That was great. The match itself, Seth and Drew, I give it 4 stars, but overall, this was a well-done booking job all around, because it finished the Drew McIntyre chase of the world championship and his feud with Seth Rollins. It continued his rivalry and added a lot of heat to his rivalry with CM Punk. And then it set up Damian Priest as a new top star on Monday Night Raw. You can't get better than that. Top guy JJ, what did you think?
Man, yeah. Like, after all of the gimmicky shit finished, and I was sitting there literally right with CM when he was just like, what are we watching right now? Like, what are we watching with this fucking entrance? Like I could not utter words more like better than that. Like, it was like, dude, I hated that entrance. I hated it. I guess it's a Philly thing. But yeah, whatever it was, that shit was goofy and that shit was stupid. Especially, dude, you just went through a 45-minute main event the night before and got your ass handed to you. And you lost. And you put Cody in an even tougher position. But you want to come out here celebrating. So you know what? It's like you reap what you sow when you going to get what's coming to you. So yeah, he put, it was a good match. Like it actually turned out to be like a pretty decent match. It turned out to be a good opener. There actually felt like a moment for some reason that Seth looked like he was gonna like retain once or twice.
Yeah,
but you know they turned it around. Drew pulled it off, and so what kills me is that he is literally he's telling Seth Rollins throughout this whole story that he is gonna make this an easy night for him. He's got to focus on this title. And then Seth Rollins is looking at him after the match is over, literally in tears, telling him, "You fucking deserve it." And then you don't absorb that, celebrate with the crowd, and then fucking leave. What do you decide to do? You turn around to a man with a torn pec, and you're gonna sit here and now berate him. And that shit was creepy with him crawling on the table and all of that shit, pushing the title. I was like, oh shit, he is about to do something dumb. And then he's like, I want to frame this on my wall. And then he does. And this is where I related, and that's like, yeah, I'm rocking the Punk shirt today because I related to this shit 100%, bro. He stands up and does a crotch chop in his face, like literally, like that's fighting words, bro. I don't give a fuck. Well, I got one arm, 2 good legs, and a whole body to work with, bro. Like that one arm ain't gonna stop me from whipping your ass for a little bit, and that is exactly what happened. And that spot, him dropping him on that table, oh, that shit was great. And then he took that fucking shit off. He took that fucking brace off, popped him with it. Like, yo, any second now, I'm about to hear Altered Bread. I'm about to hear them any second now. And then you hear that shit, I was like, let's fucking go. And then you see the smirk on Punk's face, like, oh yeah, this nigga's about to get what's coming to him. And the South of Heaven, oh, that was it. That was such a great execution of that. And then just the whole, that felt great. Like that was awesome to watch. And then I didn't even catch the entire Judgment Day was wearing the Senior Money in the Bank shirts. Like every single one of them had the Money in the Bank shirt on. And then he's not looking at the title that he just fucking lost. He just he didn't even have the shit for 6 minutes. He's not watching another man celebrate a title that he just fought for 20 minutes for and won it. He's looking at a man he's looking at a man in Indian style position clapping at your defeat. And you just can't stop staring at him. Like, nigga, you was the world heavyweight champion. The world heavyweight champion.
It was back-to-back of him and Gunther costing him, and Roman. All three of these champions cost them, heel champions cost themselves titles this week.
Right. What I love about Drew McIntyre is the hubris, right? It was just like JJ said, it's like you had the world at your fingertips. This is classic fiction, right? The bad guy has everything he needs, and the world is not enough, and then
he wants to watch the world burn.
Yes,
right. Yeah, and what's CM Punk is so fun. CM Punk
it's like the villain that has everything, but also wants to kidnap the hero to make him watch.
Yes,
like that's what he did. That's what he did. He has everything he wanted. His plan can go to fruition, and he can just ride off into the sunset. But Joker's gotta kidnap Batman to make him watch him get Gotham.
Not just kidnap Batman. Like, it's one thing to kidnap Batman and pop 2 in him, like finito. But I'm gonna kidnap Batman, tie him up, and monologue with my back turned to him while he gets a gadget out of the belt. And so it's my fault that I ended up in this position, man. Like, this was a great opening. I think I saw Kris tweet last night, like, this might be the greatest opening to a WrestleMania ever. Going from really solid match between Seth and Drew. I love Punk on commentary. I will defend Seth Rollins here for a little bit, JJ, because, the reason I think he was kind of brushing off what happened the night before, and I don't drink energy drinks anymore because I'm over 40 and that's bad for your heart, but I think that Prime energy drink does something to you mentally. Well, you just forget all your troubles, brother. You forget all your worries, and you come out acting like nothing ever happened. But also, this played into Drew's character this whole time. Not only am I focused on this man, CM Punk, but I am the consummate hater. I've been hating for like the last year and a half, and my hate is what undid me in the end. Like, they set it up for Drew to have a babyface moment, Sid. Going with I'm crying over the title. I'm going to my wife. This should be the happiest night of my life, JJ. Yeah. I finally got what I wanted.
Like, you kissed your wife, let it go. You kissed your wife, nigga, leave.
Right. Let's go right now. Yeah, that's what makes it so funny too. And props to Drew for involving his wife in that, man. Like, it was just so like. And then if you're a Drew fan, the shit was so uncomfortable that you're like, that when Priest goes and cash it in, you understand, that's about right. This is what should have happened.
I just love that CM Punk was like, yo, this is your moment. Why are you in my face?
Right.
Right, yeah.
Hey, I can't even hear you right now. Like, what are you doing?
And then CM Punk, I think officially, he's a part of the greatest Money in the Bank cash-ins of all time with this one too. This was just so great. I love the one where he where he cashed in after on Edge when Batista power bombed him and whatnot. I love the one where he's turning into a heel and takes it from Jeff Hardy, and it's like, oh, this guy's a heel now. And this one right here was just, this was such a great cash in, man. I thought that everything about it was perfect. I give the cash in 5 stars. I give the match the match before the cash in maybe about 4.
Yeah, I agree with SP on that star rating for the match. Yeah.
Josh, what did you think about Drew, Seth, and the cash-in?
Oh, the match was good. I thought it was better from night one. Did his job. And then the cash-in was even better. Just because I didn't expect the cash-in. I know a lot of people did. A lot of people in the predictions did. Yeah, like a lot of people did expect the cash in, but the way it was more going about it, I think that's why it was like, all right, Damian Priest is not going to cash in. But then once he started fucking around with CM Punk, which we all know he gets in his feelings about words and all this stuff. And I will say too, his commentary was not that great in the match.
It was off.
It wasn't. He was off. He
was
was off.
Yeah.
He had a lot on his mind, guys.
Yeah, I think he's nervous. That's why.
Wednesday.
He's nervous about Wednesday.
He's gonna get that footage.
He's gonna get exposed.
And because of how he was on commentary, I know Michael Cole only said that line on the pre-show because he was trying to make Punk feel better. Like Punk was probably nervous before the pre-show, and that's why I was like, "Cole, watch this. I'm gonna pop Punk." The guy who gets all the internet wrestling marks of making headlines, and Punk didn't even laugh at it. Punk didn't even.
Yeah, usually
that's not funny.
It's crazy though. You know what's crazy though? Like usually when WWE does stuff like that, Michael Cole does stuff like that. At least to me, is a little cringe because people would take it as a win. But I was like, no, he looks corny for doing that. We all know what CM Punk said. It's probably not the truth. And now if he gets exposed for it, he's going to show that he's a liar.
But the problem with this though is it doesn't matter now. CM Punk is the fans.
That's what makes it funny though. It doesn't matter, but CM Punk, he cares, but he tries to act like he doesn't care, and that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
So no matter what, he's gonna give a shit about it. Why? Because he went on TV. No, he went on. He went on YouTube.
The TV,
he went on panel, right? He went. He did an interview, and he didn't have to talk about it, and then he talked about it. Now it's out there. So now if they respond and show footage, guess what? It makes him look like a dumbass for doing that.
Right. So I have a question for you, JM. If they do show because I don't think anyone's going to care, but I do understand. I do think that you're right about CM Punk caring about it. Does CM Punk just let it go or does he have to rebut?
He's not going to let it go.
The only rebuttal he can do is suing.
Well, I mean,
if there was any type of agreement that they wasn't supposed to show it on air, then he could sue. That's the only way he could rebuttal. Like, honestly, all I'm worried about is how AEW is going to show this and transition it into helping out the program,
ratings,
or helping out something.
Exactly.
Not even ratings, because I can't be worried about the ratings because I can worry about it for what I do here, but I'm not worried about how that's going to translate. I just want good stuff on the TV. So transition that into helping the characters. I already said it on the watch party with JJ and Josh yesterday is you show it and be like, we feel that someone was wrong backstage and someone was brutally attacked a couple of months ago. So we're showing this footage because we are bringing back Jack Perry to be the newest member of the Elite. That is how you
that'll be good.
transition it,
Yeah.
and it helps somebody.
Yeah.
It helps
Right.
somebody.
Yeah.
It helps multiple characters, and you have Jack
Right.
Perry replace Hangman in the Elite. Since
Mhm.
Okada's
Yeah,
the Omega
so-
replacement, Jack Perry is the Hangman replacement. That is the only way you can transition that, and it's not just a petty ass move, even though it's 100% a petty ass move.
Yes.
Yeah, and I
Right,
think what is, and I think like what you said, the only rebuttal he could have is sue, because anything he says after that, guess what? They got what they wanted, because he's gonna, if he responds, if he responds to that, his best bet is to basically ignore it, and then you know, I mean, of course.
He's not. We know he's not.
No, that's what I'm saying. But people within WWE, are they gonna really care? No, but they're gonna take a shot at they're gonna see it as, oh, this is them, this and that. But it's like Punk brought it out there, so it's like,
Yeah,
it doesn't- you know what I mean? And that's the part that they were ignored. They were ignored at the fact that
that's
got it out there, but yeah, they will completely ignore that and then blame AEW or try to find another grift to get on AEW about. And it's like, you know, at this point, it's like he said it himself. He was like that he feels like he's gonna regret talking about it. And then now it's out there. Guess what?
He's gonna regret, because look, as for all of TK's faults, and he's got a bunch of them. I don't think I do think that he's not getting sued for releasing that footage, because I'm sure whatever CM Punk signed, a requirement of it was to shut the fuck up, and CM Punk couldn't shut the fuck up, and now TK is releasing the footage. I think TK's probably got, that was the clause. It's like, yo, if you can't shut the fuck up, this is what's gonna come out. And I don't know if CM Punk is reading contracts. I mean, CM Punk isn't a smart workplace employee, because he's over there choking motherfuckers at work and being like, I didn't punch him, I just choked him a little bit.
I thought I did the responsible thing.
Yeah.
I think we spent enough time talking about Punk on
the Muffin Man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it seems like the theme of the opening title match and what's to come, it's just we're gonna be wrapped in one word: karma.
And also, performers of color getting these belts: Devontae, Priest, our sister Bayley.
I love how you bringing it all back to the culture.
He's always
coming up. Because wrestling is for who?
The culture, baby.
Wrestling is for the culture. So yes, let us know what you thought about the Damian Priest cash in, the CM Punk and Drew McIntyre stuff in the live chat. We'll highlight any comments that we see coming in, but we got to get to the second match on the card, because you had WWE Hall of Famer Snoop Dogg coming out with his gold championship belt, because he was going to be on commentary for the next matchup, which was the Philadelphia street fight between the Pride of Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits with B-Fab, even though they are not called the Pride. They're just called Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. And we had special guest referee Bubba Ray, because Philly and ECW, and that's the theme. Yeah, Philadelphia street fight. So Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament of Karrion Kross and Authors of Pain. This matchup started off fast, though. You got Kross and AOP attack the baby faces early on because of a few brawling. Then Lashley gets beaten with some kendo sticks. Oh my god, like this was just violent. The way the AOP and Karrion Kross were hitting all three of these black men with sticks, I felt uncomfortable.
You see it.
It was very, very uncomfortable.
You see it.
Felt quite uncomfortable.
Is this match sponsored by Wingstop too?
No, not yet. No, it was actually sponsored by Gin and Juice. Yes, the niggas
Gin and
are
Juice, yes, it
the
was.
niggas. The niggas were sponsored by chicken and liquor this weekend.
Damn.
Watermelon tonight.
we see
I'm pretty sure they had a watermelon flavored gin and juice.
We we see AOP is about to do the Super Collider on the Street Profits when Bobby Lashley stops them. He hits a big flatliner on Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross gets mad at a slow count from Bubba Dudley. So he gets in Bubba's face, and Bubba pulls out the Devon Dudley glasses. We get the Street Business doing the Devon Dudley headbutt to the nuts, the what's up. We get the tables, and then the match ends with Ford doing a big frost splash through the tables to give the Pride the victory in this one. This one was your Attitude Era plunder brawl with some nostalgia. Got the we want the table, get the table spot. Got Bubba Ray pop. Got a Snoop Dogg pop. Got some pops. So served this purpose. 3 stars. Josh, what did you think about the Pride and Final Testament? Yep, pretty much. This was the worst match on the card, to be fair.
I give it 3 stars. I thought I thought it was served its purpose. The Snoop Dogg on commentary forever. I love that dude. He was making just random. That dude was so high and drunk off that gin and juice.
He was better than Punk commentary.
He was much better than Punk.
Yeah. He was chilling, man. And I thought I was gonna hate this. It probably we'll go back and as we recap, it probably was the worst match on the card, but served its purpose, man. And
where the fuck was Authors of Pain? Like they disappeared. They disappeared in the match.
Yeah, they did. They disappeared like Seth after the spear in the first.
They fucking disappeared, and then Karrion Kross got all the bumps, and then the fucking table broke, and then I had to bring a new table.
I forgot that part. Yeah.
I was like, oh boy. I was like, this shit is going. I was like, oh no.
Yo, I love what Snoop said. You broke our grandma's table.
Hey, boy, you broke grandma's table. Yeah. Even the picnic basket came out.
Like it wasn't like, oh yeah, the leg broke. The fucking table itself broke in half when he got on the table.
They used a delicate table.
Big Man Doug's giving us a Snoop quote saying suplex. Wow, I like that right there. Boy, that's an old school move. He popped off.
Fucking Snoop Dogg, yo.
Yeah, Snoop was great. Like Snoop's. Anytime you get Snoop on commentary for something that he is remotely cognizant of, because I know he didn't know who the hell half of these people were in this match. It's always fun. Like I think even there was a UFC game a couple years ago where like there's a mode where Snoop commentates, and it's just he knocked that motherfucker out. It's like just comedy gold. I think Kris said it best though. This match, I didn't hate it, and I thought I was gonna hate it when they announced it, and so the fact that I didn't hate it is a win for all involved. Now, can we get these 2 groups apart from each other and actually do something with Bobby Lashley and the Profits?
They won't.
They won't. Spoiler alert.
They haven't even decided what their name is. Even though they are on social media saying their name's the Pride, they refuse to announce them as the Pride.
We can't have Black Pride in this company. Sorry, pal.
It's like, sorry. He was like, is one of you homosexual? Oh no, then you're not the Pride. You're not the Pride. Network says this man, Unk NB, is tripping me out with the whole Devontae thing. I'm gonna need that to be accurate, and if it is, I'm losing my shit.
I mean, I don't know this man's government. I just know when he stepped in that AEW ring a couple years ago, JJ, and ended the plight of racism in this country, he became Cody Luther King that day. He became Cody Devontae Rhodes that day.
Right, yeah. I'm surprised how much that's picked up, too. Man.
I told you, because Sid, and I told you this last time we talked, man, last year. Like, he looked back at the sins of his life. He was like, dog, I really should have gave Sid that too sweet that one time. And for that, like, being with Brandy has opened my eyes to the struggle we all must face. And from now on, I will represent for the culture. And that's why he is Cody Devontae Rhodes.
I got rid of the beef, when he did All In. I was like, you know what? I forgive you. I've booed you out of the building in all these places for a year, and I forgave him. And then y'all brought it all back with the whole racism thing. That was the key. That was the key that brought back my hatred of Cody. Is when y'all started saying he solved racism. I was like, what happened to him solving racism when I gave him a 2 sweet? But we get
people grow.
We got an interview with Paul Heyman. Kayla Braxton asks him what bloodline rules entailed. He mocked her and said it meant whatever they wanted it to mean. The match would only end when one man walked out the winner and the other one went home to his wife, Brandy. There were commercials for WWE 2K24 as well as Slim Jim. We see LA Knight arrive to the building in a Slim Jim car, and we get a video package for LA Knight versus AJ Styles because that is our next matchup. LA Knight versus AJ Styles. This one had low expectations going in because the feud was ice cold for a couple of weeks. They brought it back in a big way with the whole home invasion that they did a couple of weeks back, and the brawl that they had during Media Day as well helped it out a lot. AJ Styles had new music. What did y'all think?
It's got to grow on me, probably.
I heard it again. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's as bad as people were saying yesterday. In my opinion.
The Videotron is cool.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad. It sounded similar to his original song. So that's all you need, really, at the end of the day. The match started off.
Rap song. That's what he likes. He likes rap music, so cool. I'm cool with it.
The match started off really fast-paced with some brawling early on. Styles goes after and attacks the leg of AJ Styles, kicking him in the leg. But Knight comes back with a Russian leg sweep, some stomps, a running knee, and a tornado DDT for 2. Styles drops him again, drops him face first on the turnbuckle. Then he follows up with a German suplex and a face buster. Styles went to the top rope, but he took too long, so Knight trips him up. Knight bites at AJ's face, and Styles returns the favor by raking Knight's eyes. Knight leaps up to the top rope and hits a huge super release German suplex, which looked awesome. That was the best move of this matchup here. We got Styles applies the calf crusher, but Knight is able to make it to the ropes. Styles drops Knight a knee pad down and then kicks the leg into the ring post. He then applies a figure 4 in the ring post, like his name was Bret Hart, but then Knight pulls him into the ring post and bashes his head back in the ring. Styles goes for a springboard 450, but Knight's able to get his knees up, but Styles catches him with the Pele kick, but Knight is able to block the Styles clash. The Styles gets to the apron where he hits Knight. He looks like he's going for the phenomenal forearm, but Knight cuts him off, hits the BFT. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight picks up the victory here against AJ Styles. I thought this was a good matchup. I thought these two guys worked really well together. AJ Styles had his working boots on. I think that was his best effort since he's come back from injury in December. Honestly, his best effort in like 4 years. But LA Knight, I thought he showed a lot of energy here and was a lot more aggressive. Nate, what did you think about LA Knight, AJ Styles? I give it 3.5 stars.
Okay, 3.5 sounds about right, Sid. Y'all know I love this man, AJ Styles, man. This dude, being a TNA fan from the way back, like this dude has always been somebody that I've respected. I consider him one of the greatest wrestlers on planet Earth, whether that Earth be round or flat. Like this dude always brings it. I had to say, hey, we ain't forget AJ. But the thing is, this is the most egregious setup I've seen since the refs were reffing the Iowa games this past week. Sid, how you gonna have a Slim Jim match with the dude in the Slim Jim car and think you're gonna call it down the middle, man? It was a setup, a conspiracy. AJ got some brand new theme music for the night, and still it didn't help him. I think the only thing that I hated about this match was, like you said, Sid, it had no heat. It had less heat than Lincoln Financial Field on Saturday night. Like it just was cold. Yeah. But
the crowd only cared about saying yeah.
Yes, right. Yes. But LA Knight and AJ, they did their thing. I thought the match was good for what it was. I don't know though, man. Like I feel like LA Knight, as much as I've loved seeing his story, seeing his rise the past year or so, he feels so much less of a hot character than he did even 3 or 4 months ago. And that's not his fault. I think it's the way they positioned him up to this point, but it was cool that he had a Mania match. You know, if you know about this dude's story and his struggle, for him to have this moment with AJ, I thought that was cool for both of them. Wasn't a great match, but it wasn't a terrible match either.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. LA Knight is not as hot as he was, and he said the problem. It was they gave him that title match way too soon. Professor Kris, what did you think about LA and AJ?
Yeah, I give it. I actually give this probably 4 stars because I saw people making fun of it, calling it the AARP match and shit like that. I like AJ Styles. I like LA Knight. I think LA Knight. I think when you get The Rock coming back, and you got CM Punk coming back, and then all these other people that are like firmly etched into the main event scene. Some people are going to take a back seat. I do think LA Knight is going to come once the Rock stuff kind of clears for a little while. LA Knight's going to have his moment, and he'll be okay. Because I don't think Triple H is going to like purposely forget about him. I have no worries about it. And like what you guys said with the match, it had no heat going into it, but for whatever time they gave, it was entertaining. I got no complaints about this match. Yeah, that's it.
What about you, Top Guy?
Yeah, I mean, I gave it. I think I agree with the 3.5. I mean, it was a good match. Like it's like with everything that we got going on, everything we had going on this weekend.
Yeah.
There's gonna be things that don't give you that oh shit feeling like this, and this wasn't gonna be one of those matches, unfortunately. And they were placed perfectly, I think. They were kind of like, right in the middle of the card, give you some stuff, they worked. They definitely worked like that. They definitely worked the match, but that there's always a victim to not being the hottest story in the company. And clearly they're not. So yeah, they were just mid, and that's how you get a mid score. That's how you have a mid match. But they delivered. I think they delivered pretty well. But when you're not looking forward to that as much as you're looking forward to what's to come and what's happening, you gotta like over deliver, which is I think something we saw later in the show. But you have to over deliver for you to really notice it, and they didn't over deliver. They just delivered.
Yeah. Josh.
Match was good. I mean, it was decent. It was a SmackDown match, so I didn't expect much from it.
Damn.
I love Josh when he's like not feeling a matchup, like he has no emotion. He says it in the most serious way, in the most dry way possible. I love it.
I mean, that's what it was. It was a SmackDown. It was like
Match.
no hit.
It was like there was a moment where we were watching it on the watch along where I was like, yeah, this crowd don't look like they're that interested in this. So yeah, let's get this show on the road. That's what I started. That's when we had the whole debate when I said that, this second half better deliver.
Yeah. Because we were like, I don't know if it's gonna be better than night one. But it's like, I don't know. Like those last 2 matches were like pretty SmackDown matches. We don't know.
Yeah. Pretty basic ass matches. But at this point, we got clips from the Hall of Fame, and then we got the whole Hall of Fame class coming out with Paul Heyman getting the separate entrance, entering to the ECW theme, holding the undisputed WWE Universal Championship because it would be his last night holding it. We get a bunch of videos at this point of the show, including a video package for the next matchup, which will be for the United States Championship. Logan Paul defending against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Logan Paul came out and he entered in a pickup truck with a Prime bottle cannon attached to it. He entered with someone in a Prime bottle suit. The announcer speculated that it could be KSI. We also get Kevin Owens coming out. He enters the gorilla position where he meets up with who? Sami Zayn. Zayn tells him that it was his turn tonight. Then Owens drives down in a golf cart, but he stops short on the stage and he waits for Orton to come out, and he picks up Orton and he takes him down the stage in the cart. And we start off this matchup where I gotta hand it to Logan Paul. Logan Paul is so much of a douchebag heel that it was 2-on-1 for a lot of this matchup, and I still wanted to see his get his ass kicked. That never babyfaced him at all. I just wanted them to keep kicking his ass, and I love the early portion with Owens, with Orton teaching Owens about his back suplex into the announce table. That was funny. We got chants of Gatorade from the fans, which was another funny one. They started attacking the legs of Logan Paul. Owens tried a diving senton, but Paul was able to get his knees up. Paul hit a diving senton and then transitioned into a perfect frog splash on Orton. This guy is too good. Paul and Orton started trading uppercuts, and the announcer started putting over that Paul got the better of Orton in the uppercut battle as the crowd was booing. Orton pokes Paul in the eye, but then Orton clotheslines Owens and then hits a power slam as they start going at it with each other. Paul tries another springboard, but Orton grabs him into a power slam. At one point, Logan Paul hits a double buckshot lariat and did it so smooth. Owens catches both guys with super kicks. He hits a code breaker on Orton at the same time as senton on Paul. Owens gave Paul a package power slam and then a moonsault off the top that looked beautiful. I was like, Owens is busting out all the moveset. Orton blocked the pop-up power bomb, and then he hits a RKO on Owens for a near fall. Owens actually kicking out of the RKO, which was a nice touch, showing us his WrestleMania. Paul punches Orton with the brass knucks, but Orton's able to kick out of that. Owens gets back on the apron, but Paul hits him in the ribs with the knucks and then knocks him out with the brass knuck shot. He tries for another brass knuck shot on Orton, but Orton is able to catch him with the RKO. But instead of going for the pin, he takes the knucks off. He gives the knucks to the referee, and then he goes for the punt. But then the Prime Bottle mascot pulls Paul out of the ring. The Prime Bottle mascot is not KSI. It is I Show Speed. Yes, no one knew him. No,
like no one over the age of 35 knows who that dude is.
I mean,
I'm talking about in the building. No one knew him. No one knew him.
Yeah, because, it was pretty awkward.
Yeah, it was. Most people thought he was KSI because he's a black guy in a prime bottle.
We need to have a dialogue about this, Sid. Why?
I thought he was KSI for that exact reason.
Why is every time Logan Paul gets in trouble, a black man needs to be his shield? We need to discuss this, fellas.
Why do black men have to be mascots? Why?
Talk about it.
Orton barked at him. He gives an RKO, big bump on the announce table that didn't break, so he took all of that. Orton hits the pop-up powerbomb on Logan Paul, then a stunner on Orton for a near fall. Owens tries for another pop-up powerbomb, but Orton reverses that and counters right in the pop-up, right into the RKO, which was great. That was the new version of the RKO he's been talking about. But Paul chucks Orton out. He throws him into the ring post and then hits a beautiful looking frog splash on Owens to pick up the victory and retain the United States Championship. I thought this was a super fun, great matchup, action-packed throughout, and told a great story with Logan Paul just being resourceful and just being a slimy heel, taking advantage of things and pulling out the win in the end. I gave it 4.25 stars. Nate, what did you think about this one?
This match overexceeded my expectations, Sid. Like, I thought it was going to be a fine match, but I think all three men and I Show Speed did their part in this match. I think when you look at Logan Paul is somebody who is very easy to dislike, not only as a character, but as a human being, him and his punk ass brother. Yeah, we rooting for you, Iron Mike, if that fight ever goes through. But I think he knows his role, to use one of DJ's phrases, like that chicken shit heel who's good, right? Like we can't dispute the brother can do the damn thing in the ring.
He's like Miz with Hangman's moveset.
Yo, and I'm telling you, like the move that got me, because you talked about that double buckshot.
Pretty good.
The way that double buckshot, like the way they filmed it or the way they shot it, I didn't even see him, do the setup outside on the ropes. So it looked like he just jumped down from the rafters like Spider-Man. I was like, yo, this dude, as much as I hate him as a human being, he's really good, especially when you look at the amount of time he's been doing this, Sid. I thought you had some great moments with Randy and with KO. Like, I love the moment where they're like, at the beginning of the match, we just going, we know how these triple threats go. We're not going to turn on each other yet. We just going to whoop up on this dude. And the first moment Randy gets, he tries to sneak KO, and he's like, come on, dog. You know what this is, baby.
He's like, so we're going to do this? We're going to do this.
We're going to do this now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I didn't know who the hell IShow Speed is because, like Kris said, I think, that's a certain demographic that I'm not a part of anymore in terms of that age group. But I thought he played his part in terms of, like, I'm just like, it took me a second. I'm like, okay, that's not KSI, because I remember what KSI looks like, but now he's just doing his best Rick Steiner impression, just barking, like you think he's one of the Q dogs, barking at Randy Orton, and then Randy's like, come on, dog. And the way Randy kicked him, and the top, that's what he's famous for. Okay. So when he kicks him and the top of the bottle flew off, I'm like, perfect, man. I thought the finish was well executed. I had predicted that this was going to be KO's win, because then we'd have Sammy and KO kind of on back-to-back nights. But the fact that Logan retained, I'm not mad at it, because I do think there is value in some babyface eventually beating this guy who is such a great heel right now. So yeah, I'm with you. What'd you give it, Sid? 4.25?
Yeah.
I think I'm just a little bit under you. I'll go 4 stars.
What about you, Josh?
The match was good. It ended up being better because they got the time. If they didn't get the time, I don't think it would be as good. But the fact that they gave them enough time made it good. Despite the IShow Speed, I thought it did its part. I'm just glad it wasn't KSI again, because then it would have been like, bro, like, you were just here last year. Same thing. So, at least they got this kid, because he's regardless of what people may feel about the kid, I think he's annoying as fuck, but he's one of the most popular streamers in the world. He has like over 10 million subscribers on YouTube. So he's pretty popular. But all the barkings, that's basically what he's famous for. He's famous for reacting to losing games. He overreacts. That's basically what got him famous. He took the RKO very well too, because I was kind of worried, because he's a kid who doesn't like listening. I was kind of worried of all right, what if he takes the RKO and he doesn't fucking sell it? You know what I mean?
What if he's Steve-O? Yeah.
Yeah. But he took it very well. He took it better than I expected. And I thought the right person won. I didn't see a scenario where KO and Orton was winning, one of them. I thought they would have won. I think it would have been a singles match. But originally I thought this would have been LA Knight's spot, but they just never went to it. Yeah. Maybe it does end up happening in one of the next few months that's coming up. Maybe that does happen. Maybe that's why they're waiting. But the match was good. This is where this match, where I was like, all right, night two actually might be better than night one, to be honest with you. It got to this point.
Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was a fine match. I think that Logan Paul, when he finally loses, it's got to be in a one-on-one match. I think I'm generally not a fan of three-way matches at Mania, just because I think Mania is where you need to have a feud, right? Unless you're just trying to put everyone in a certain specialty match to get them paid. But I do think that Logan Paul serves a purpose. I didn't see any reason for him to lose. It gives him something to brag about, at least through the summer, probably. This was again, this was another unoffensive thing on Mania to me. And I don't remember the last, because I've done this show with you for like probably 3 years in a row. I said every year there's at least 3 or 4 things that just vastly offend me. And this was fun.
JJ.
Yeah, no, this was one of those matches that did the over delivering. Like this match was awesome. Like this match was fun, but it is almost like every time we walk into a KO match at WrestleMania, it's almost like but then it's like, yo, this shit was really good. Like he tends to over deliver every year at WrestleMania, and the fact that Randy Orton was along for that ride. Because, Randy Orton's had a lot of like mid-Mania matches, and this time, this was a really good one. Like, so, yeah, I would go 4 stars on this one. The element of Logan Paul is something special. Like, he is special. Like, and I think that's what makes him special, is he is such a dickhead, and he's so good. Like, you got to acknowledge that he's good, even though he is a legit asshole. Like his character on his fucking podcast is literally what he carries to in the wrestling world, and it blends perfectly because he's such an asshole and he is so easy to dislike. But then once he steps into that ring, you gotta be like, oh shit, like he does that shit time and time and time again. And yeah, fun match, man. And god damn, I didn't know who the fuck this I Show Speed kid was. I had no idea who my brother. Yeah, my brother was one of those racist people. He thought that was just KSI because he was in the chat. Yeah, he was literally in the chat yesterday. Like, yo, KSI is back again. I was like, I don't think
it's a black guy in a prime bottle. What do you want me to do?
I don't think that's KSI, but sure.
The biggest, the best way to separate KSI and actual Speed is that KSI is very famous for the bandana. He never takes off his bandana. He always has something on his head or a bandana. That's how you know, like, that's KSI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the question: who's the next famous young black YouTuber that's gonna have to be a shield for this man, Logan Paul?
King of the fourth quarter, or Kai? We got Kai in the chat. You
gotta get Kai. You gotta get Kai Cenat, man. You gotta get Kai Cenat at some point. But everybody gonna be able to tell us Kai Cenat because Kai Cenat is like 3 feet.
It's got to be like a giant or a power guy against Logan, so he can launch Kai into the crowd.
Right.
That would be great.
But good match overall. It was fun. It was really fun.
Definitely. We got a super chat donation here from Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will. He says, I love how Seth and Roman both lost their titles because of how much they hate each other. It's true. That's the other thing that the main event did. It set up the natural Roman and Seth next match with the ending. They did that.
Right, yeah. And I wouldn't mind eventually seeing Roman with the other title just to make it like, this is a good title as well. But yeah, I do.
I'm good. He shouldn't waste his time. Nah.
You want to uplift the title scene?
No, you buried that. Don't waste your time. That's like that's like when people told me Brock was going for the Intercontinental title this year. I was like, nah, he shouldn't do that. He spent 20 years saying I'm not going for these mid-card titles. Why y'all want him to go after he's been a star to be that? But
yeah, he literally cut a segment, the B title.
He missed out
going for the B title.
He missed out on talking about his favorite WWE Hall of Famer, his favorite rapper, and his favorite professional wrestler. He is here in CP time, even though he is the lightest person on the screen. Jeremy Lambert has arrived.
Hey, Jeremy, what's up, man?
The eclipse was going on, so that's why I am late. We got 100% totality out here.
Was it completely dark out there?
Oh yeah, it was completely dark. Birds are going crazy, dogs are going crazy. It was completely dark at 3:15 in the afternoon. So it's starting to peak back in.
Here.
It is darker over here too. So yeah.
We got 100% totality here where I'm at. So it was a crazy experience. But I got 12 kids, SP3. They all want to see
they must have had the best time ever.
Yeah, they were going crazy. But so I apologize that I'm late. But I had to return because the greatest superstar of all time, undefeated at WrestleMania. He was the host last year. He did a match last year, already in the Hall of Fame. This year, the greatest commentator ever, Snoop Dogg. My man Snoop Dogg once again proven why he is the greatest sports entertainer of all time. I see Josh. I had to give you guys a shout out on Twitter last night. Josh and SP3 always like Jeremy and his love for Snoop Dogg. He stole the show last year. This year, he made that street fight interesting. No one cared about that street fight. And then Snoop showed up and they're like, oh, Snoop's here? Okay, we care about this street fight now.
Nah, you definitely knew Snoop was showing up some way, somehow. Pretty sure.
I did know at Sunday afternoon, probably about 3 o'clock, that Snoop was going to be there. That is
that's where he gets his point. He's not worried about any of the other news. He's like, I'm on Snoop watch. He's like, is Snoop coming?
Had his alerts turned on.
For people who may not know, like Sean Ross Sapp breaks a lot of news and everything. He messaged me about the Jason Kelce stuff earlier in the week. My reply after asking about Taylor Swift was, okay, but also is Snoop Dogg going to be there? That's all I cared about. That's all anybody should. The greatest sports entertainer of all time, Snoop Dogg. Yeah. He stole the show again.
I will say he was very entertaining, and you missed our great discussion about why WWE made all the multi-man black people matches sponsored by chicken and liquor.
I did notice that as well. Is this a sponsor thing though? Like, did Snoop like look at the card and be like, Street Profits, Lashley, that's the match I want to sponsor right there?
No, I heard that a bunch of times over the weekend that the sponsors picked what match they wanted. I'm like, nah, I don't think Snoop picked that one.
I'm not gonna lie. That's probably a white people defense. The white people are just like, there's no way. There's no way. The sponsors definitely picked it. Meanwhile, like, white people are probably coming up with that defense.
Yeah, that is true. Jeremy, we talked about most of the show already. Did you have any other thoughts on, of course, the main event? We've been praising. We spent like an hour talking about that main event. What was your thoughts on how the story finally was finished?
One, Steve Austin should have been there. It was a shame that he wasn't. Two, knew it was over for the bloodline the moment we all saw the GOAT, Brandy Rhodes, as part of the entrance. She didn't even have to interfere, anything. Her presence alone, bloodline was like, oh shit, we're done for. We're done. The mind game of just having Brandy there, that was a wrap on them. Absolutely. That's really my only thought. Brandy, Snoop, the 2 MVPs of WrestleMania. Who cares about the rest of the show?
All goes back to that one episode of Dynamite.
At least nobody in the bloodline had a black belt.
Very true. We got Christopher Kidd with another super chat donation. Thank you, Christopher. He says, so Seth was worried about Roman, Drew was worried about Punk was worried about TK, and TK is tired of the BS. Cody the only one that got it done.
Cody knows, just mind your damn business. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Just mind your business and you can get shit done. Don't worry about other people.
And Cody knew not to get worked by Ariel Helwani. So he was perfectly fine doing his job last night with nothing on his mind. But I will give my best Snoop Dogg compliment on this review was that Snoop Dogg blew Punk out the water as a commentator. Because Punk was distracted, obviously.
So I was doing articles. I was like, I'm going to do an article on like Punk. I'm sure he's going to say some great lines on commentary and stuff. So I'll do an article on like all the cool lines CM Punk says on commentary. Never published it because he didn't have any cool lines. Like what was the article going to be? Oh, Liberace. All right, cool. It was, Punk wasn't good.
He was thinking about that work TK's about to give him on Wednesday.
Snoop, on the other hand, absolutely killed it. I'm gonna hop off. I do got to give a shout out to Nate for that Cody shirt, though. That's so good. One of the greatest shirts of all time. I mean, I'm rocking a AEW. This is that one. I got
Yeah,
that.
I'm rocking Kenny because he got his WrestleMania moment.
Yo, Nate, is that cash money? Is that a cash money or no limit?
Yeah, make him say,
Yes.
yeah. That's an all-time shirt right there.
I will not divulge where I purchased the shirt because I don't know if it's a legal operation or not, but we see you. Appreciate you.
Okay. We appreciate you, Jeremy, for stopping in.
Thank you, guys.
We had to complete the panel from last year. It was an all-timer, so we're glad we had you here for this year. But
Like,
overall, like WrestleMania weekend overall, what did you think?
Oh, I'm glad it's over so I can sleep tonight. That's the truth of everything. It's WrestleMania week. It's always great. There's always a lot that goes on. There's always, if you're a wrestling fan, you can find something from this week. Whether if it's not WWE, it's ROH, it's NXT, it's Janela's show, GCW, like whatever it might be. There's something to enjoy. Bloodsport is always one of my favorite shows. There's always something to enjoy from WrestleMania week. So it was a lot of fun, but it was also a lot of work. So I'm happy it's over and I can sleep. And as long as Snoop Dogg keeps showing up, I'll keep showing up on this show as well. Thank you guys. Appreciate you as always, SP3. We'll talk some basketball tomorrow and narrate some sexual acts or something, I'm sure.
Yes. Check out FMC for Too Hot to Handle Mobile, where Jeremy has what have you done so far? You've narrated a hand job and a blow job and a 60
blow job in a shower. Yeah, blow job in the shower. Yeah.
Yep.
It's awful. I'm really selling stuff. Good to see y'all. SP3, always good to see you. Bye, everyone.
See
Snoop
you
Dogg,
tomorrow,
WWE legend, the greatest of all time. Snoop Dogg.
This is why we love Jeremy here. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining us. We got Santo just joining us now. Thank you, Santo. Glad to see you in the chat. He says, cheers, my friends. WrestleMania was awesome. All of night 2 was awesome. Match of the weekend, though, was Sammy and Gunther, and Seth was the MVP. After we are done talking about the next matchup, we're going to give our match of the night, our MVP, LVP, out of 10. What did we give for night 2? And then overall, we're going to give an MVP for WrestleMania weekend, both shows. Match of the weekend, LVP for both shows, and of course our overall score for WrestleMania, both shows as well. So be on the lookout for that and sound off in the live chat and tell us all of yours for all those answers, because we got to talk about Bayley challenging Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley getting the big intro. She gets an Egyptian-styled entrance and was carried out by 4 guys who did like the praising her. Graves noted they was Roshin Park, an Egyptian museum in the Bay Area where Bayley grew up. Io Sky then came down to the ring. We got the championship intros, and then the match started early on. Io Sky showed her focus targeting the formerly injured leg of Bayley, the injury that she suffered before she made Damage Control. She smashed it against the ring post. Scott applied a leg lock. Cole spoke about how close Damage Control was and how much Bayley has probably talked about her injury. They fought over to the Timekeepers area where Sky went for a springboard off the barricade, but Bayley reversed that into a Bayley to belly. Sky fought back, hit a moonsault outside the ring, good dive to the floor. Then Bayley came back in the ring. She hits the Victoria side slam. She tried to go to the top rope, but Io was able to cut her off. But Bayley came back with a sunset flip powerbomb into the bottom turnbuckle for a near fall. Sky hit a nice looking German suplex at this point. She rolled through, hit another nice German suplex. She went for the moonsault, but Bayley was able to get her knees up. Bayley went to the top rope and she went for a flying elbow, but Sky was able to reverse that into a crossface. Bayley escaped that and hit a back elbow. Sky caught her into another crossface again. Bayley tried to get the rope break, but Sky transitioned that into an STF. Bayley fought out of it, eventually hits the Bayley to belly for a near fall, but Sky gets control again, hits a springboard drop kick. Bayley is in full control when Sky basically acts like she is feigning an apology and then punches her in the face and does the nice little ha 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 like an evil villain. That was great by Io. Io then hits a backbreaker and then goes to the top rope, hits the over the moonsault, but only gets a 2 count. She hits a standing moonsault. a moonsault off the second rope. She goes for the over the moonsault off the top rope, but Bayley is able to dodge it. Yeah, and then she goes for the rose plant. Sky leaps and does a front flip out of the rose plant. Bayley comes back. She gets a big clothesline, hits a flying elbow drop, and then finally hits the rose plant to pick up the victory. This was a terrific matchup. Bayley and Io Sky just had superb chemistry together, just flowed. The counter work, the technical work on the mat, the reversals, all were just flawlessly done. One of Bayley's best singles matches of her career that wasn't with Sasha Banks, in my opinion. Bayley becomes the new WWE Women's Champion, and this crowd was the other addition that was like the cherry on top of how much they were rallying behind Bayley. They were behind Bayley from the bell ringing all the way through to the finish. This match went about 14 minutes, 22 seconds, but every minute of it I enjoyed. I gave it 4.5 stars. Top guy JJ, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, that right there, I think, yep, spot on for me with the stars. This is that one of those matches that we talk like that they're gonna over deliver and then they're gonna get everybody involved. This match could have possibly stole WrestleMania weekend. This match was. I don't know what the expectations were for this match. I'm pretty sure everybody was expecting a good match, like a really good match between these two. Most people probably thought Rhea and Becky was going to be better, and it wasn't even close. This was head and shoulders the best women's match of Mania weekend. WWE wise, I wouldn't know the other companies. So I'm just saying.
It was the best women's match. I would say the only one close to it was Masha Slamovich and Shayna Baszler.
Yeah,
but
and I watched Collision, and that wasn't great.
So we've had a handful of these women's matches on Mania weekend, and this not even close was the best one. And the chemistry, there's something about having chemistry as two opponents and two people that's worked together for so long. You can just see it in the ring. These two had amazing chemistry. And just the spots, the counters, the spots, the trade-offs, the storytelling during the match. The crowd too, the crowd just got so invested. This was great. This was great. There's not much more to add to it as far as I don't think that they could have done anything to this match, but give it a little bit more time. But this match was straight phenomenal, and very happy that Bayley got her WrestleMania moment as an individual. So this was great. This was great.
100% agree with you there. The one women's match that was on the level of this matchup was probably Athena versus Hikaru Shida. I almost forgot that one. That was ours. And it was, once again, someone who was underrated in WWE previously versus a Joshi wrestler. Those are the two best women's matches of WrestleMania weekend. Underrated WWE star versus Joshi wrestler. That's what works. Professor Kris, what you thought about Bayley and Io?
Oh, I thought it was a great match. I'm like, you probably 4.5. I might even go 4 3/4. I really enjoyed this match. It was I was not excited. I thought the feud was stupid the whole time. I think every time I was on our show, Nate, I always talked about how much I hated the feud. But I think back in my mind, I knew the match was gonna be good, and Io surprised me too. I didn't know she had all that in her. Awesome match, man. Love it.
Josh,
you went outside?
Yeah. Match was great. Both ladies, they delivered. Because somebody's coming to my door. That's why I was like, I had to mute it.
No worries.
Damage control was finna roll up on him.
No, I mean, yesterday, I praised the match or during the watch along. I was like, yo, this is definitely the best women's match of the weekend. But also, my opinion, I thought it was my favorite Bayley match since Sasha versus Bayley. It was really that good because again, I didn't know what to expect because the build wasn't that great. I thought a lot of stuff they did to the build-up, they did a little soon, in my opinion. Like the breakup, I thought they did it way too soon. But this was the match I really needed it compared to like the both women's matches. I think we knew Becky and really solid would be solid to great. But this is the match that really needed that. They really needed something. And then also, you know, Bayley won the Royal Rumble, and I kind of felt bad. It was like, it kind of felt like it was non-existent, that this is what happened. Like, this is how she got the match. And ended up working. I feel like what made it great too, like when we were just like, all right, night 2 is gonna be better than the night 1, was the reversal from EO, where she reversed that move, and then I just made it that took it to like another level, in my opinion. Like I think if it wasn't for that, the match would have been like good, but it wouldn't have been like what it ended up being.
Yeah,
like, and EO was another person on this show who had the best performance of her WWE career, like right up there with Roman. Like this was EO in her bag. This was stardom EO, like just how flawless he was getting into like the reversals and the counters and reversing stuff. Like she was on the money. Everything was smooth. Nothing went awry. Like this was EO at perfection.
Right. This is the reason why I watch wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what we call a common WrestleMania women's dub, Sid, because it followed the pattern. Suspect build up, but the match delivers. You know what I mean? This is like the opposite of what we were talking about yesterday with the Usos, man, where the build up didn't make any damn sense, but then the match underwhelmed. And then this one, like I felt like, yes, the breakup was rushed. I feel like they didn't really do a lot to make Bayley sympathetic. Like I feel like she wasn't sympathetic enough because it happened so fast. Because I was with when Bianca was talking with Naomi, like, yo, this chick been busting us upside the head for the last year. We supposed to just cheer for her now? Like, sis got a point. Sis got a point. So I don't think they did enough to make me feel like, damn, yeah, Bayley is up against the odds, but the match itself delivered. And I think when you have two people, as JJ said, that know each other so well and know what this match means to each other, they went out there and delivered, man. They showed up, showed out, like the person in the chat said. I think this is probably Bayley's best match outside of any of the matches she's had with any of the other horsewomen. Like, I think this is, you know, outside of anything.
I honestly think it's way better than any of the Charlotte matches or Becky matches. Yeah. I just think it's Sasha. You can just stop at Sasha with the horsewoman. Like, those are her best matches.
Yeah, I'm partial to.
I actually agree.
The Charlotte matches are good. The Becky matches are good, but none of them are like.
And I think what makes
I'm not talking about the Becky and Bayley steel cage match from last year. And it just happened last year. I haven't talked about it since.
I think though with Charlotte in particular, I think why I look back finally at those matches, Sid, is because there was that story when, you know, we had the underdog Bayley versus Charlotte. So it felt much like going back to her daddy. It felt like a Steamboat Flair kind of deal with those two. And I think so that, you know, that emotionally it puts it up on that level. But yeah, from bell to bell, this is the best non-Sasha match that Bayley has had. And I hope that they follow up on it though, because it's one thing to have a moment at WrestleMania, but what are you going to do with it going forward? I hope her championship run is worthy of this moment. And speaking of championship runs, I will say, man, we got to give flowers to the sis EO, because I hate it, Sid, when a champion's best moment is when they win it, and it feels like it's all downhill from there.
I don't think that with EO though, because EO.
What's her big moment though, Sid? Like
EO, the whole title run is her big moment because EO proved that she's a TV draw. All of her title matches drew. Like she's won her, The Rock, Cody, Roman. Those are the top draws on Friday Night SmackDown. Her having that title solidified her that people want to see EO in big matches. And
but she also felt like in a lot of those matches, particularly when you had the mix with Charlotte and with Bianca, it felt like the champion was third on the list. in terms of
Nah,
who the
and
story was focused on.
They gave her the main event spot against Asuka. They gave her the main event spot against Charlotte. Like, they gave her spots. I would say the build, you could say the build to this matchup
did not do her any favors.
EO went into the background. That's fair.
He did.
That's fair to say. But I won't say that she didn't have any moments, because I felt those title matches, especially early on when she was drawing ratings and doing well, outdrew the bloodline a couple of times. Like that, like we gotta really like specify that. Like, we did the whole thing in praising Roman. Now that his title reign is over, I 100% agree with the commentary. Io Sky's title run was very much underrated by people that don't pay attention to ratings like I do. I paid attention to that, and that was like, wow. Io
and I
is
feel like
star.
they had a hand in it being underrated, though, Sid. I think is my larger point. Is that they didn't focus on her the way she probably should have been focused on.
I agree with that.
But yeah, like, to kind of wrap up my thoughts on this match, I thought it was great, man. I love one small thing that I loved about this match, Sid, was it was one-on-one. Because I thought there was going to be a lot of damage control shenanigans up in here. And we didn't get that. We just let these ladies go out there and cook. So salute to Bayley, salute to Io. This is my second favorite match on this show, which had a lot of good matches.
Indeed. And we got a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Chuck Berries, once again. Chuck Berry says, God damn it. They finally gave my girl Bayley some justice. About damn time. And like, I understand, like, this was a big moment for Bayley. But I'm going to need y'all Bayley fans to stop acting like this is the first time Bayley has won at WrestleMania. Because we got Kris in the chat, who I know is like the biggest Bayley fan in our chat, who said Bayley first title at WrestleMania. Dude, her first WrestleMania, she retained the Raw Women's Championship. In the pandemic in 2020, she retained the SmackDown Women's Championship. She walked in to WrestleMania 35 as a tag team champ. All she does is walk in and walk out of WrestleMania with titles. Stop acting like this is something that's new, or this is like the big moment that Bayley has never had. Bayley has a bunch of these moments. That's why I was rooting for Io in this matchup, but they totally got me into the story of the match where I stopped rooting for Io and I was just enjoying what was going on. But I just had to get that out because y'all Bayley fans, man. Y'all acting like Liv Morgan fans out here in these streets.
Bayley said no more big three. Now it's just the big me, Sid.
But sound off, like I said before. Let us know your match of the night, MVP, LVP, out of 10. What did you give the show? And then the overall weekend as well. For us here, let's put our thumbs in the middle for WrestleMania 40, night 2 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from all of us. Josh, start us off. Out of 10, what did you give night 2?
I'm going to be the high man on this. 9 out.
You said 9.5?
No, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Top guy, JJ.
It's really hard not to disagree with that. Like, this was good. Yeah, you know what? I'm jumping on that bridge with you, Josh. I'm going 9.
Nate?
Yeah, I love how Josh had the audacity, the gall to be like, I'm gonna be the high man on this. Dog, we all up here. It's a
we all here.
Day.
We all here. Like, when you said that, I was like,
I thought he was just gonna go 10.
Hey,
yeah,
we all here.
That's why I tried to give him the half.
Hey,
like, did you say 9.5?
I mean, hey, you called on me first, and that's why I said it. I don't
make some room, player.
Hey, Professor Kris, what did you give it?
Oh, I give it a 10. Yeah, I haven't done this in the WrestleMania in years. Since I've been reviewing with you, Sid, I don't remember. This was good, man. This you talking about night 1 or the whole weekend?
I'm talking about night 2.
Night 2 or the whole week. Yeah, the night 2, I give it a 10. There was very, like, again, even the stuff that was not great, it wasn't offensively bad. Like, yeah, I didn't get any, because there's always at least one cringe moment on Mania, whether it's Brodus Clay walking out with his mamas, or just something stupid. And there was none of that. There was like absolutely none of that. And I'm surprised. Night one with the chicken and the gin and juice, we could talk about that. But as far as like the show, I gotta give it a 10.
I can't give it a 10 because it's not a perfect show. But the Philly street fight, like you said, it wasn't bad. It was passable, but I'm not going to give a show that has that match on it a 10 out of 10. But I will give it a 9.5. That's it. Like, that's all it ticked off is a half a point. This is the highest grade I have given for a show on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel is a 9.5. A 9.5 as well.
Turns out we was the low man after all, Josh.
I think this and like a couple of New Japan shows are the only ones I've ever give 9.5 to. So this
What'd you give a Revolution? I can't remember, Sid.
I gave that a 9, I believe.
Okay, I knew it was close.
Yeah, I gave that a 9 out of 10. This one gets a 9.5. Both of the endings were fantastic. And then I will go next MVP for night 2. It's Cody Rhodes. Professor Kris?
Yeah, Cody Rhodes. I mean, who else could I give it to on night 2?
Nate?
Come on, fam. Cody Rhodes. Like, it would have been nice to get that grand a year ago, but we got $2,000 this year. So I got to give it up to the Reverend Cody Devontae Rhodes on these streets.
Top guy, JJ?
Of course it's Cody Rhodes, man. It's Cody Rhodes, man. I'm going to give an honorable mentions to CM Punk, though. Because he was influential in a 5.5-minute title reign.
Yeah.
Hey, he was hurt and he still got a WrestleMania moment. So
CM Punk is a textbook definition of failing upward, man. Like he just is, man.
Josh, what you gave? Who you gave MVP?
Cody. No other person.
No other person is worthy. And let's go next. LVP for night 2, and my LVP early for overall WrestleMania 40 weekend, Seth freaking Rollins.
Wow.
You fucking dork. You are a fucking dork. You wear that stupid ass outfit on night 1. You lost. Then you turn around after you lost looking all depressed and have a fucking clown show with some mummers. A mummer band? You fucking dork. And then your enemy played you on commentary. You walk into the ring in a Brock Lesnar style matchup. You have the most experience in Brock Lesnar style matches, and you still lost. You walk off, and the guy that beat you had a 5-minute and 25-second title run that was ended by your other enemy, basically. And basically everybody forgot that you were the champion 10 minutes ago. And then the main event, where you dress up in your old outfit, you come out to a big pop, you get laid out, even though you have a weapon. You have a weapon, you fucking dork. You have a weapon, you get punched, you get knocked out, and then you get hit with a chair, and that's the reason that the guy lost. You're a fucking dork. You're useless. Seth Rollins, LVP. I do love you, Seth, but just how they presented you this weekend, you're a dork. Nate.
This is a hard choice, man, because outside of your boy Seth, like there's not really a definitive LVP on night 2. Like even
there
like
is.
you said, okay.
There's more than one.
Looking forward
to
it.
One. There's more than one.
There's more than one.
I'll give an honorable mention to any black man that accompanies Logan Paul to WrestleMania. It ain't gonna end well for your player. It ain't gonna end well. Know your history. But for
you
me,
it to Acho Speed.
For me, my LVP is that man, the international hater of the year, Drew McIntyre.
Big girl, I don't give a fuck. Spoiler alert, I'm joining you on that.
Hot tag then. Go ahead, JJ. Go ahead.
Hell yeah, that's my LVP of the fucking night. Is Drew McIntyre. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Yo, you had the fucking moment, everything laid there for you on a silver fucking platter, and you go and kiss your wife, and then you gotta fucking turn your attention to the man that you're fully fucking obsessed with.
Just
and then
go
you
home.
lose your title in 5 fucking minutes. You lose your title in 5 minutes. Your WrestleMania moment that you've been yearning for, bitching to the crowd for 4 fucking months, that you needed this moment in front of fans and all this passion, all this desire, and then you turn to a man in a suit with a fucking brace on his arm, and then you lose it in 5 minutes. 5 minutes! Drew McIntyre is the fucking LVP of WrestleMania. Yes, honorable mention to that dork Seth Rollins.
Hey, he got one more win than Seth Rollins this weekend, though. Josh, LVP, LVP for night 2.
Oh, it's Drew McIntyre. Like you were so obsessed with the guy who's obsessed with Page. Like, you know what I mean? Like you lost in your own game.
And Professor Kris.
So if I was doing this, I'm analytical. If I was going just by kayfabe, it would be like Drew or Seth. I have to give the LVP, and I hate doing this. And the Nubians, my fans are gonna hate me for it. I got to give it to Bobby Lashley, yo. Just because of where he was.
Catching a stray.
Yeah, like
you won a bet.
Yeah, he was. I just wish he was. Last year, he's better off than he was last year. And last year was garbage for him. He came out there hugging, high-fiving, and waving at people. Not on a match. So I guess this year is a little bit better that he's in a match, but Bobby Lashley needs to be in the mix. Like, Bobby Lashley should never not be in the mix. Even if he's not main eventing, he needs to be in the mix. And this is pathetic. And this is... And Kofi Kingston is in the same category. It's like, why are these guys former world champions and they're both black and they're not in the mix? Can you get in the fucking mix at the very least?
I think for Kofi, honestly, I think that ship has sailed.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I was making that face because I think it sailed for Lashley. Like this new era, the Triple H era, he's been slowly but surely doing a couple of things. Lashley's been like this. AJ Styles been like this. Like either it's John Cena only comes to put people over. Like they are slowly but surely putting that other side, that other era to the side. And I don't expect Lashley to be in the mix.
SP, let me tell you, the only reason why I didn't definitively pick Seth Rollins, it's my one reason. His mere presence is what cost Roman Reigns the championship. Mere presence in that black suit cost Roman Reigns the title.
Hey, you could have got some other dork in black hair with a blonde.
It wouldn't have been Seth Rollins.
That was looking like the worst run in history.
He had the chair. He saw Seth in the suit. He saw the opportunity. Had his back to him. It's like, oh yeah, this is 10 years in the making.
No, that doesn't bring Seth out of the LVP consideration. That puts Roman in the LVP.
Originally, I thought, to be honest with you, I thought the run-in, I thought it was like a decoy or something. Because I couldn't believe that was Seth Rollins because of how laid the fuck out he was. I'm like, wait a minute. You had to come on the shield gear. You don't even see him. That's what makes it even like worse.
And you
see Roman run on the camera, throws the Superman punch. All of a sudden, you see Seth on the floor. I'm like, wait, that's Seth Rollins? Like they did all of that, and he didn't even get like one.
He took a bullet for the culture, dog.
I mean, there's a difference between taking a bullet and just looking like a dumbass.
Like, say, ain't no way in hell I'm putting my tribal chief in the LVP discussion.
Hey, I'm not, but I'm just saying what you presented is not Seth Rollins out of the LVP. You presented the argument
but he got the honorable mention, and I didn't want to literally carbon copy exact because Seth Rollins is high mention in that conversation based off that 24-hour turnaround alone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
24-hour turnaround alone.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nikki. You can feel Seth is the MVP of the weekend, LVP of the weekend. I'm sorry, your reasoning of you said, oh, say he cost Roman the title. He got hit with a chair. he got hit with a chair, and that is your reasoning for him being MVP. Okay, okay. I'm not going to say anybody's opinion is wrong. I've learned not to do that, but that does not make no sense to me. That's my opinion.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me either. It's just he got hit with a chair that makes him MVP.
He got hit with a chair. That means
I will give credit though. I will give credit to Dwayne.
No. God, geez.
I will give credit to Dwayne because he did not grandstand that main event. Like he was more in his role. Like he didn't do anything. He took the choke slam and then he just disappeared. Like he did in the box office for Black Adam. So I really appreciate it.
Him and Taker just disappeared to the back to talk about how woke the world has gotten.
Yo, bro, the footage of Undertaker running to the back is hilarious.
It's funny.
It's hilarious, bro.
And match of the night for night 2, I'm going with the main event. Nate.
Come on, if this ain't a full sweep, man, then the Grammys don't care about us, man. Cody, Roman, Bloodline Rules, match of the night.
Professor Kris?
Yeah, I have to give it to the main event. It was everything that it should have been.
Absolutely. Josh?
Main event.
JJ?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Main event.
And I'm going to go one step further. The main event is the match of the weekend as well. Cody Roman 2.
I can see that.
The match of WrestleMania weekend.
I know.
I mean, it did get 5 stars across the board. So, you know.
Josh, you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that.
JJ?
I think that's the only match we gave 5 stars to, bro. It gotta be. It gotta be.
Kris?
Yeah, I agree. I did love the main event for night 1, but this I didn't give that one 5 stars. This one is definitely a 5-star just because of what the symbolism around it. That gets it 5 for me.
Nate,
come on, you ain't gonna have me on Al Gore's internet making Mama Rhodes cry this afternoon, brother. Definitely, that was the match of the night, and also the match of the weekend. I also want to say, Sid, something that I think is overlooked about last night that I really appreciated is the amount of pacing on this show. Because when that Bayley match ended, I think it was like 9:30, 9:45 when the Bayley match ended, and I'm like, well, damn, this is a brisk pace. And then the main event finished up like we was done before 11, I think, somewhere around there. And they let that moment breathe at the end. Like they stayed on that moment instead of just cutting off. Take notes at AEW. You could have did that for Sting and Revolution, you and Bleacher Report. But I love that.
No, they can't. No, they can't. Let's stop, Nate. Let's stop the nonsense. One person owns their streaming service, the other doesn't. Like, let's be real.
Right. They could have bought the extra airtime. That was something that's a rookie mistake, man.
TK was like, nah, we ain't springing for that extra package.
Yeah. We gonna pay extra money. We making money. We here to make money for this show. What we paying extra money for? I saw it. I was there live. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying you have to make. We gotta see that shit, man.
Listen, they put a time slot. They got the time slot.
Exactly. Did you see the finish of the match? Okay, that's it. Sorry.
Damn.
But
if they was smart, they should have been like, "Yo, we need to buy 4.5 hours."
Right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like,
Bleacher Report is like, "Hey, we asked if you wanted to pay for the extra time, but."
Yo,
it is what
that's what they're doing YouTube the next pay-per-view though. So.
To us.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm streaming it on YouTube next for the next time. So I'm cool
MVP of the weekend. I'm going co-MVP of the weekend to Cody Rhodes.
Okay,
and Triple H.
Same here.
Okay,
Professor Kris, you agree?
I 100% agree, man. Triple H and The Rock. It's just amazing. Triple H used to be terrorizing, and Jean Paul Levesque. Like, this is he was probably getting picked on back in those days in WCW. The level up from this dude is out of this world, man. It's like if it's like me at the university and the janitor of the university, 19-year-old kid, 3 years later becomes like the dean of the department or the dean of the school. That's what this shit is like. It's surreal, only in wrestling, man. Because I can't think of any other like sport where fucking terrorizing can become Paul Levesque, the owner of everything, or like not the owner, but you know that, and then The Rock and all that. So Cody Rhodes too. I never like Nate used to wax a little bit more poetic about Cody than I did, and it wasn't that I hated Cody. It's just he was a dork, tweet like picking out his nose hairs and shit like that. It was stupid. But I started seeing it at the Stardust era. I was like, oh, you know what? I could kind of see Cody Rhodes doing his job, and it's amazing what he's turned into. So wrestling is great this weekend. I liked Collision this week too. But back to WWE, yeah, Cody and Triple H.
Uncle Nate.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to that man, Triple H. It's amazing what a year can do, because last year we was throwing that man over the coals. We was roasting that man over the fire, and he has made this turnaround. So you got to give a shout out to Triple H. But I'm going to give the top prize to the two men that this whole weekend was built around: the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and Cody Devontae Rhodes. Because as I said yesterday, Sid, if the stuff around those guys doesn't work, then this WrestleMania doesn't work. I don't care if everything else on the card was a 5-star match. If the main event of night 1 and the main event of night 2 don't work, then we wouldn't be talking as glowingly as we are about WrestleMania this weekend. So you got to give it up to Devontae. You got to give it up to Roman Reigns. Look at us. We doing it big. We out here getting Wingstop endorsements, gin and juice. It's a wonderful time for the culture, y'all.
Okay, JJ.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with Nate here, man. Cody Rhodes is definitely the MVP. He's definitely the MVP of the weekend. He finished his story, and one of the best stories in WWE history. So that kind of, you got to put him on his own moniker. But I have just 2 honorable mentions. One, obviously, the man he had to dance with, which is the Tribal Chief, our Tribal Chief. This doesn't work without him, as Nate just said. Like, he was the ingredient to make everything so big and so special. And I wasn't a part of the night 1 review, so my another honorable mention is Mommy. Mommy looked like a motherfucking star on Saturday. She was that bitch on Saturday. Like, obviously she didn't have the match of the night, but that was superstar moment right there for her.
What about you, Josh?
It's gonna be Cody. All the BS I had to deal with, all the ass whoopings, like I said, all the ass whoopings and all the slaps was all worth it.
And then LVP for the weekend to rep everything up here. And yeah, I'm sticking with Seth Rollins. Josh.
LVP
for the weekend.
For the weekend, I'm gonna give it to Jimmy and Jey Uso, having a dud of the fucking match, of a dud of a build up, and match was ass. Not their fault, but unfortunately, if you get the worst match, oh well, that's what you get.
JJ.
Yeah, now that you said the weekend, the LVP of the weekend is Seth freaking Rollins. He is definitely the LVP of the weekend. He fucking lost the main event. He fucking had that clown ass entrance that he had. He had that goofball fucking look, and he lost his title. So
and then
got
got pestered with a chair and put Superman
all
punch
he
in the main
did
event.
got no payoff. Got no payoff. At least Jimmy and Jay, they probably gonna have another chance to right their wrong. but Seth, that whole weekend, that was a big fat L.
Uncle Nate.
In ascending order, at number 3, that man Drew McIntyre, international player hater. Number 2, Seth freaking Rollins, as for the reasons that you and JJ have asserted. But number 1, and I hate to do it to these boys, it's just you, Oos, because that night 1 match was shit.
It's just you, Oos.
And the reason I say that, Sid, is like because we talked yesterday, man, about how much we wanted that to be great. But also the reason I'm giving this them the LVPs of the weekend is because I feel like that was the moment where I was like, ooh, I don't know if this Mania going to be what we think it's going to be. It's part of the reason why this is the first Mania of the 2-night era where night 2 superseded night 1. And so the fact that, they got a little bit of redemption in the main event last night. They was like, y'all get 1 spot. Don't screw it up. Just hit that little spin, y'all keep it moving. But I feel so bad for them boys. But yeah, they my LVPs of the weekend.
Yeah, and it's kind of cap what you said real quick. I'm sorry. Is the Jimmy and Jay call of LVP that should affected the score of the overall WrestleMania?
It did.
So,
Kris.
Yeah. Rollins is a close second because for all the reasons that you and JJ named, Rollins has been getting on my nerves for a little while, but these outfits, man, I just can't get over them. And then to come out because this is what I used to hate about Cena is you come out celebrating after you lose. Like, why should I care about you? And I did not like that last night. That entrance was he should have came out angry and mean. There should have been no pageantry behind that stuff. No goofy outfits, none of that. So he's my number 2. Number 1 is the Usos, man. I hate doing it because Usos are for the culture. They're black adjacent. It's just sometimes like I just don't think. I think if your style is too similar, sometimes it just makes for a bad match, and I think that's just what they're a victim of. I don't need to see that match again.
I'm good on giving y'all a chance at redemption. I'm good on that.
Right.
They just need better spots, man. They just needed to have more spots. Like,
yeah, I agree, but I'm still like, you had your chance, man.
Damn, they get 1 shot.
Yeah. It's like I remember I was at the club and I was trying to holler at that girl that used to play Maxine on Family Matters, Cherie Johnson. And
that's a wild intro to a story.
That was the wildest intro.
What I said, I had my chance. I hollered. She wasn't feeling it. Had to move on.
Damn.
So just like Jimmy and Jay, you gave her a 660-second dud.
It was probably like I think she was nice about she was nice about dissing me. She added me to Facebook and everything.
Damn, she gave
it still ended in an L. She was nice about it. She was real nice and cool about it. And I think she invited me to a party that I went to, but she wasn't feeling your boy.
Kris is out there doing the Urkel.
Yeah.
The answer Annika here, she said, honestly, what brother versus brother match was great? Owen versus Brett? Well, you just named it, and they had it twice. At WrestleMania and SummerSlam 1994, the final deletion between Matt versus Jeff basically put people onto Impact Wrestling when it was pretty much dead. Matthew versus Nicholas on BTE 200. I literally said it after Jimmy and Jay was over. That was so much fucking better than that fucking awful matchup. Annika, I don't know why you asked this
Carmelo
question,
Hayes versus Trick Williams.
I feel like you asked this question because you were like reaching for Jimmy and Jay not being that bad, and that brother versus brother matches are not great. They are great. Jimmy and Jay was just the dirt fucking worst.
Right. It's like even when Matt and Jeff Hardy had that horrible build to WrestleMania, the match
at least had a good match.
The match was fine. Yeah, it's
Bro,
like
that shit was worse than Mark versus Glenn.
Yeah.
Right.
Honestly, the question should have been, Annika, has there ever been a brother versus brother match this bad? That's a better question. And I think the answer is no, there's never been a worse brother versus brother match than Jimmy versus Jay. That's why I said I went through the different options of why you were asking that question, and I wanted to cover all the bases.
And Annika,
so this was an actual question in SP, not a
and that's why my first initial reaction was let me answer the question and then break it down.
SP was about to flame it. He was about to go eat the mode, yo.
I love Annika, but this don't try to defend this. Don't try to defend that.
So even Jordan missed shots. Even Caitlin Clark missed shots.
Professor, you know, listen, we've been roasting each other on True Hill Heat for 7 years, bro.
Right,
that shit ain't changing.
because I gave my thoughts on like both nights on my Facebook, and somebody made a comment saying like, "Oh, that Jimmy versus Jay was underwhelming because everything else was like, no, it was underwhelming because
people are reaching to get.
They'll come up with any excuse. If they are a fan of them, they'll come up with any excuse.
Yeah, because I'm a fan of both of them too, but you know, spade is a fucking spade, yo.
You know what makes that shit even worse?
If it's bad, it's bad. If it's bad,
they had the fucking crowd. The crowd was so invested in that shit.
No. And then I actually rewatched the matchup. The crowd was into Jay. It wasn't into the match. They were into Jay.
But that's half the battle.
Yeah.
That's half the battle.
That is true.
And if you don't even have half of the battle there, then it's like, okay, you ain't got no crowd part, but you had something, and they just threw a fucking flat football.
Yeah, like honestly, even with, like I said, the crowd, I felt like the crowd was more into Jay. But if the crowd was into LA Knight, like they were into Jay on night 2, we would be talking about AJ and LA having a great match. Because that was the big difference from it being a good match and a great match, is that the crowd was dead for most of it. Yeah. But hey, whatever you thought, that is just our opinions. We've talked about for the last 3 hours about night 2 and WrestleMania weekend. Overall, we want to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts. We've highlighted a bunch of the comments in the live chat, but anyone watching on demand, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about WrestleMania night 2, your overall score, your MVP, your LVP, your match of the night, and overall thoughts on WrestleMania 40 weekend. But I want to thank this all-star panel back to back years. We've had all-star panels for our WrestleMania reviews, so we appreciate each and every one of you, especially our good friends from the N.W.A podcast. Want to give Professor Kris the opportunity here, your 3rd straight year with us for a WrestleMania review. Let everybody know where they can follow you and see all your great talks or your great thoughts on social media, as well as the N.W.A podcast. The floor is yours.
Right, so I do have a book coming out, but we'll see when that's happening. It's a slow process. KMEZ does it on Twitter. Me and Nate are about to do the Kings of Sport in a couple hours, probably talk a little bit about MAGA Rock. Is that a thing? We might need to discuss it, you know. And we'll probably be talking about the women's basketball. What else we talking about, Nay? We got some topics. But I'm looking forward to that. And then Kings of Sport, we do that once a month on Post Wrestling. And yeah, man, just great weekend. Always good to chop it up with my dudes about this shit called wrestling. And I gotta say, AEW had a good collision. WWE had good pay-per-views. I do think wrestling is back where it needs to be. WWE fans can actually defend it and it be legitimate without doing the mental gymnastics. Those days look like they're over for you for a while. No one needs to defend to me Baron Corbin beating Roman Reigns anymore. We can move on to actual good shit, hopefully, from now on.
Yes, indeed. I agree. And Brother Nate, let everybody know.
Yes, Sid, it's always great to be back. Much like EO Sky, I am the draw around here, Sid. Don't ever forget which guest brought in your highest rated episode to this day, Sid.
Yes, indeed. True Hill Heat flagship.
I'm the Caitlin Clark of True Hill Heat. Call me Caitlin Dark.
Caitlin Dark. I am calling you that. I am.
I started a movement here. True Hill Heat with Sid and JJ and Josh and Romeo and Chrissy and the whole crew. We love y'all. But if y'all want to hear more from me, as Kris mentioned, in about an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes, whatever, we will be going live tonight talking about the NCAA Women's Championship. South Carolina, Dawn Staley and them girls showed uncommon favor, defeating Caitlin Clark, the greatest basketball player ever in the history of basketball, if you ask some people. And I'll give my thoughts on that. We'll also talk a little bit about WrestleMania. We'll talk a little bit about The Rock, as Kris mentioned. But it's our first show here in a little while with the Kings of Sport proper. So we're excited to be back. Me, Kris, our producer, Ray, and possibly the nephew, the youngest in charge, Andrew Thompson. So you can check that out on our YouTube as well as on our Twitter. So check that out, kingsofsport.com. The N.W.A. podcast, as Kris mentioned, once a month on Post Wrestling is something that we appreciate. Our next episode comes up in about a week or so. We'll be talking all about Cody Rhodes finishing the story. And then the last thing I will promote, or actually the second to last thing, because we need to get paid, patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. While you supporting Sid and the good people here at True Hill Heat with their Patreon, just cross the street. You ain't even got to be like Seth Rollins and get your ass whooped one night and then come back dancing the next day and come see us. Just go to patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. $5 gets you in the door. If you want to pay more, we are not going to stop you. It's a free country. And then the last thing I will say is if you want to hear more from me, like this whole weekend has been wild on my timeline because it's just been nothing but WrestleMania and women's basketball. And that's a wild blend of voices on your timeline, Sid. And I've been in that bubble for the last 3 or 4 days. But in the number 8, MOZAIK, at Nate Mosaic on Twitter. And again, Sid, as always, man, took us a while to finish the story, Sid. You and I had some bumps along the way, but I'm glad that we are finally here, man. And Devontae has brought us together. Unlike Jimmy and Jay, we not brothers fighting anymore. We are brothers that are unified for the culture. That's what True Hill Heat does. That's what the N.W.A. podcast does. And we going to keep on doing it, y'all.
Yes, sir. Top guy, JJ.
Yo, my God. Listen, man, this has been a crazy-ass weekend. And I'm glad that we got to celebrate it all together. We got to see a story finish. We got to talk about a good WrestleMania for the first time in how many years now? Like this is probably like 3-4 years. 39 wasn't too bad, but we had a lot of sour grapes to talk about. This was just awesome. And kicking it with all the fellas, kicking it with everybody in the chat. We had a lot of people in there today, so that was really dope. Listen, Instagram, that's really like my main thing is on I'm Truehood_Top Guy JJ, but when I'm back on here, I will let you guys know. Probably will be pretty short notice because that's the way my schedule works. But I can't wait to be back on here. Can't wait to be back with the gang talking shit. But more than likely, probably gonna see me in a couple of hours actually for the Raw stream that's happening for the Raw after Mania. Can't believe that shit is only 3.5 hours from that. It's fucking crazy. But but we here to cap off this fucking insanity of wrestling weekend, and it's gonna be dope. And always good to be back with the gang. And you know, I want to hear more of that backstory about you and your sister from another mother, Caitlin Dark. You know, I want to hear more of that backstory. I want to hear how that developed. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
But yo, love it.
Josh.
Social media, JMPunk321, Twitter and Instagram. Most likely be on tonight for Rated Raw Superstars. And then Wednesday I'll be on for Elite Heat.
I will not be on for tonight's Rated Raw Superstars because I've done about 20 hours or 25 hours of content this week, and I think I've done enough. But you can follow me until then at True Hill SP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat, patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The True Hill Heat Prediction Championship will be back once Romeo puts up the tally, because we all know I won the last season. I don't know why he's wasting time, but hey, he's going to waste time and do the tally. But go to our merchandise at ProWrestlingTees.com as well as ForYourWear.com. Go over to our second channel, True Hill Heat Sports and Entertainment. We got our NBA recaps over there. And check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like our WrestleMania 40 Night 1 review from yesterday. Already at 1,000 views. We appreciate y'all for the support on that one. Check out our WrestleMania Night 2 watch party from last night. JJ was there, Josh was there, I was there, Romeo, taking a look at what went down on the historic Night 2 of WrestleMania. Check out the True Hill Heat Flagship podcast with myself, Top Guy, and Miss Chrissy Love from Friday as well. But for our fellas from the N.W.A podcast, Kris and Nate, for the True Jaw Josh, for Top Guy JJ, we witness Cody finishing his story. This has been our WWE WrestleMania 40 Night 2 review. We are signing off until next time.